Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. On the go at ESPNSA.com. There you can see our live broadcast, our YouTube feed. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. James Pledger sitting in the glass box of fun. 3 hours of sporting talk headed your way on a good old Tuesday afternoon. Did you guys get some rain today? I bet it's a little steamy outside right now. You didn't get any rain?
No, I thought it was going to rain. It looked like it was going to rain. In fact, because I was a part of that hailstorm, I was outside with a guy that was giving me an estimate on the roof, right? And I sat about 45 minutes. And I thought the whole time, I'm like, I can get out of this conversation quicker when it starts to rain. It just never started to rain. It was kind of disappointing because my yard would love it to rain.
Got a couple inches out here on the Thompson Casa. It's nice. Everything's still nice and green. I guess it'll be going away soon. But, man, I ate outside last night. It was a gorgeous night. It didn't feel very June-like at all. It was a lovely evening. I saw you got a chance to do a little queuing yourself.
Well, I put some burgers on the grill. I figured now that we're a coastal city and, I got that sea breeze blowing in according to CNN and where they have us on the map, you got to throw some burgers out there. And I ordered some of these barbecue grill mats. I've had some friends that, posting with them. Oh, what's that? How does it work? It's not bad on burgers. I think it'd be good for when I'm doing my bacon wrapped shrimp or some vegetables. But, I don't know if I'll use them on burgers again. Chicken because it's non-stick. That's the idea. It's non-stick, and you're supposed to not get the flare-ups with it. But isn't that part of the fun?
You have to master your fire. You don't just lay that down.
I use propane, man.
You own the flame. It does not own you. You do not let it get too far ahead. That's the glory of grilling. The grill pad has its place.
I'm a propane guy, so I'm not worried about mastering the fire. If I need a little bit more, I turn it up. It's propane.
Master the fire.
You have to master the fire. You have to wear the ribbon and master the fire.
Sounds like a Metallica album.
Yeah, maybe. Last night, after we went off air, I don't know how many of you guys got a chance to catch the Mike Greenberg special on the sports coming back on ESPN's mothership. It was interesting. All the commissioners were available. All of them spoke to each of their individual leagues and the processes they're going through and the ideas they have regarding the social revolution that we're in the midst of. It was very enlightening, and we've got a lot of sound coming from that we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about Roger Goodell and the state of the NFL and what they have gone through and what Goodell has done even since the last time he spoke regarding the George Floyd murder and the processes that are in place now as the NFL moves forward. We're going to hear about his response on Colin Kaepernick, what might happen, and maybe try to figure out what will happen to Cap. And then we heard from Adam Silver talking about the return of the NBA, the platforms required by these socially active players, what would be available to them if they were to play. And he also included something that I have not heard from any of the other commissioners, Jason, that the NBA players, should they choose not to want to play, whether it be for health reasons or socially conscious reasons or whatever it might be, they're going to have the right to stay home if they choose to.
That is not new, but it is different when you do hear it out of the commissioner's mouth. Last week there was some discussion that if there were people that did not want to go from the NBA, they would be allowed to not show up. But they wouldn't get paid for those 8 games. And it does beg the question, if you're going for 8 games financially, is that worth it to you? Well, if you're on a team, Kyrie, that isn't going to win an NBA championship, if you're on one of the teams that probably aren't going to make the playoffs or make a deep run, are you going to choose not to go? Because, you can survive without the 8 games you're going to get paid for, whatever playoff money you might get. And, what we talked about last week while you were out is, I imagine all the guys that are on the teams like the LA teams or Milwaukee, they're all going to show up. But you do wonder about some of the other teams that, 8 games ain't worth it. If you're coming up on a contract.
You mean like here?
Yeah.
Here? You talk about San Antonio Bay?
There's Weatherspoon. He's going to go. He's going to get to play. LaMarcus would rather walk out of his house, look over at the ocean, sweep the sand off the porch and go fishing. Because according to CNN, we're a coastal town. So, there is that debate. Although with LaMarcus, we all know he's not going to play because, apparently he had shoulder surgery a month ago. or 2 months ago.
So are property values skyrocketing in San Antonio since we now have oceanfront property?
I think
Maybe.
there's a guy live around here could write a song about that, I think. I think there's somebody lives real close to us, Jason, that might be able to put something on paper, make some money off of the very idea. There we got some oceanfront property just south of 1604. I think that would be a capital idea for
you mean
Senior
down there in San Antonio Bay?
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of opportunities here. I think they've already all been used. We just combine them. We make it like that David Allan Coe, the greatest country song of all time, using a variety of other lyrics describing San Antonio as being on the water. I think there's a potential here. I think we need to find a way to monetize this, as I hear in so many meetings.
I mean, you go from the Riverwalk to the Ocean Walk. I mean, the Riverwalk right leading into the San Antonio Boardwalk right on San Antonio Bay. After you visit the Selena statue, you walk across the street and visit the Alamo. I mean, there are so many ideas that you could come up with here.
Oh, speaking of solidarity to my boat driver brothers and sisters that started back to work today, go Rio. The boats are open and on the water starting today. I guess that's a good sign for downtown San Antonio as things try to turn around. I mean, that's one side of the news. We could talk about the negative side of the news as we continue to get higher and higher numbers. But, for those that work in the hospitality industry, any news is good news.
Governor. Yeah, it was backed up batches, according to the governor. Yes. Testing, from some prisons. Yes, the Gulf of San Antonio, Rudy, on our Facebook Live. That's exactly what it is. All those tests, they were shipping over, from Galveston through the Gulf of San Antonio before they could come up the San Antonio River to the testing center.
Did you know that to be considered a river as opposed to a creek, a river has to run either through the state, beginning outside of the state, going through the state, and ending in another state, or run to the ocean. Or run to a river that then runs to the ocean. If it does not do that, it is considered a creek. The San Antonio River had to be proven to be an actual river back in the early 1990s, for the city of San Antonio to gain control over the idea of what can and can't be on the Riverwalk. So, a little lesson for you there on what actually makes a river. Why do I feel
like I need to tip my boat driver with that bit of knowledge?
Actually, the story goes deeper than that, Jason. There was a time back in the early 90s that my brother, Jason Thompson, an attorney for us, .com, decided that we wanted to start a riverboat business. And true story. We developed an electric riverboat, of which they are just now using back in the early 90s. And then we secretly dropped our brand new beautiful riverboat down on the San Antonio River to prove that this is in fact a river, and the city or the state has no bearing on whether I'm on the water. The state of Texas and citizens own the rights to the water above the bed in the banks. And I was very quickly, my brother and I yanked off the river, held in custody for a bit. And after a long and expensive legal fight, the state of Texas Supreme Court ruled in the other side's favor, and there you have it.
Really?
Why do I feel like I'm the?
It was a very expensive civics lesson.
But you developed a boat that worked, and you didn't capitalize on that idea.
It was awesome. It was an electric boat. Now, keep in mind, this is 1990s technology. So basically, it was just a series of jet engine batteries that ran down the middle of this flat bottom square barge. And it didn't have a steering wheel. It had like the tank joysticks on either side with a propeller on each corner. That thing had a zero gravity or a zero turn clearance. It could literally spin in a circle. It was a way ahead of its time as far as design, though the battery power, let's just say, was suspect. And there was an opportunity now and again for the batteries to, what's the best word I could use? Explode. That's it. The heat might cause the batteries to actually explode. But apart from that, it worked. It was just 30 years ahead of its time.
Guessing you didn't patent this?
What was the patent?
Yeah. All right. So let's go back. Before you needed to call AA Best Bail Bonds, I'm trying to think, where would you put this into the river and how? They took it? Of course they did.
They impounded our boat. That is a highly kept secret. I will not tell you where we managed to put the boat on the river, but there is, in
Uh-huh.
fact, a pretty good spot.
All right.
It took a little bit of recon work.
I'm just trying to think. You and your brother. One of you very, very smart. One he worked with us on radio, and your father being an old city councilman. You must have thought this was actually going to work, and you were going to get the river business. Is that was the idea?
Yes, we wanted to. Well, we felt at the time that who gives the city the right to just license one company to give riverboat tours? I mean, what gives the city the right to say, well, you get to do it, and not only you, but you get it exclusively for 10 years? That just didn't seem right to us. Why can't there be several boat companies? We felt like we had the right to do that, and we're told in a couple of years later by the Texas Supreme Court that the city of San Antonio had exclusive control because of the flood control projects that were done back in the mid-20s, that were because they had improved the river to an extent that it did not basically look like it had naturally flowed, that the city had absolute control over it, which is a load of crap because it's a river. No one can tell you whether you can be on a river. When you tube down the Guadalupe, you're going through people's property the entire time, but they can't tell you to get out. Now, you can't get on their land. You can't walk out of the river, but you can stay on the river as long as you want.
So if we fix up the Guadalupe River, we can control it?
According to the that ruling, I don't know what has happened since. Our argument was, okay, what about Houston? The bay of the port of Houston and all the improvements there. Does Houston have the right to limit or tax there? I'm just saying that it's a long. Still upset with that.
I mean, clearly the idea of we're gonna take over the riverboats and have all these different. I applaud the efforts. In the '90s, going with it. Taking it all the way to the Supreme Court.
The irony is, I ended up driving boats when I was out of work as a radio guy, and I realize now how dangerous it freaking was that we did that. I mean, we should not have done that. Everything that we got in trouble for, we probably should have. It was it was probably not the safest thing we've ever done.
Is there a statute of limitations on this thing? You're not going to incriminate yourself.
I was never convicted. Never convicted. Oft accused, but never convicted.
And I love the fact that the river's in your blood, man. Like you said, in between radio gigs, that's where Rob is at, man. He's driving boats. I can tell you, there are times where I've gone down there with family. I take the river cruise, and Rob Thompson is my captain, and I felt obligated to tip big.
Did I ever drive you? Did I drive you? Oh, cool. All right. Yeah. You better have tipped.
New nickname, Riverboat Rob the Pioneer.
I'm telling you, we tried to get her done. As sports round into first base, trying to get everything going. Baseball has stumbled. Football's moving forward. We got a chance to hear from Roger Goodell last night on what was a very well done program from ESPN as sports begins to get things going. Greenberg hosted all of the different commissioners. We're going to hear from Roger Goodell next, and some thoughts on not only reversing and fixing some previous problems with the NFL, but looking forward to what they're going to do in the future, and his thoughts on Colin Kaepernick. We'll think you find it very interesting. We'll talk about it here next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com. I'm talking to all you guys out there that have a little bit of pain, something that bothers you consistently that you just can't stop, or maybe something you did last weekend. Maybe you strained your back or hurt your shoulder or put yourself in a situation that you cannot continue with. And if you're dealing with that, call my friends at Arasti. Those guys are experts at successfully resolving those chronic soft tissue injuries that just seem to nag. So if you've got a hamstring problem with that newfound health plan that you've got and you can't get yourself going, or maybe you hurt your back lifting something heavy, you can get it fixed remarkably quick. Arasti providers are all around San Antonio, and they're easy to find. I recommend going to their website, arasti.com. You see a list of the providers, and I'm telling you, there's too many to even begin to talk about. I'm sure there's one less than 10 minutes from where you are now. They're following all the safety precautions to get yourself better. And they have found over a series of studies over the last several years years that on average, it takes under 4 visits to eliminate the pain. You know, they're experts at doing this in a way that is non-invasive. This is not about over-the-counter or prescriptive medications to dull the pain. This is about finding the problem on your body in a non-invasive way and fixing it. And then you feel better. I'm telling you, I am living proof that it really works. I want you to make the call. Get yourself in. Here's the number, 1-800-404-6050. Again, 1-800-404-6050. If you're in that quest for health, trying to get yourself in better shape, and if you hurt yourself, don't put it off any longer. Get yourself fixed. Call in a Rosti provider today. And I know one thing for sure. You'll thank me later.
Get 100% sports while you give 50% effort at work.
Is that a rhetorical point, or would you like to do the math?
I'd like to do the math.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
It's true, things are bigger in Texas. Check it out, our foods, our sports, and yes, our hearts too. Getting hungry? Go to porkrindrecipes.com to make something big tonight. Award-winning chef Tim Byers and Southern Recipes small batch pork rinds are cooking with heart. Each time you watch or share their newest video, they'll donate $5 to Blessings in a Backpack, helping kids who are food insecure right now. And you can find Southern Recipes small batch pork rinds at H-E-B. Southern Recipes small batch, it's a different kind of rind.
Is the summer of 2020 the year you upgrade her diamond? After all we've been through this year, can you think of a better way to make 2020 a year she will always remember in a positive way? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our best ever selection of large, rare diamonds and our most aggressive finance offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with 0 down. So you can upgrade her diamond and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest charges. And if you bought her original diamond from us, it's even better because we'll give you 110% of your original purchase price to be used toward the upgrade. So you can really go big. If your luxury travel had to be postponed this year, make the journey to Diamonds Direct and let her escape in our world of sparkle and romance. And take advantage of our special summer of 2020 financing offer. 5 years, 0 interest with nothing down on approved credit. Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
This is the sound of Jeff's first ever low and slow Applewood smoked pork shoulder. And this
yes.
is the sound he made when it fell right off the bone. Yeah, are you okay there, Jeff?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Backyard grilling leaves the best marks. Kingsford. For recipes and inspiration, visit kingsford.com.
Oh, yeah. It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM at ESPNSA.com. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Just let this wash over you.
Are you ready to lick me sexy?
The late and the great Jackie Moon. Big fan of Jackie Moon, are you, Jason?
I'll get back to you on that one. I was about to ask, who is this?
He's the greatest semi-pro basketball player of all time.
Of all time. Flint Tropics, I believe.
Oh, yes. All right, good. Because I was like, I have a clue what you guys are listening to, man.
Not the best segue into Roger Goodell and the really important talk that was held last night on ESPN. Greeny hosted all the commissioners talking about the different hurdles that all the different leagues are just having to go through. And then to get the play started, we know each individual a league has their own issues, and baseball extraordinarily more so. But Roger Goodell has had an opportunity over the last month to really kind of exercise some previous demons with the NFL, going all the way back to Colin Kaepernick some 4 or 5 years ago. And the way that the NFL has reacted to the George Floyd murder has been singularly pretty impressive, considering that, the NFL is a battleship. Turning it and getting things to change is difficult in any league, and especially with these old ensconced owners that, have a history. What do you have to say regarding the players that first stood up, that were told to shut up and stand up? I think Roger Goodell and the NFL turned a corner last night.
We should have listened to our players earlier. Our players, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reed, including Kenny Stills, and so many others, Malcolm Jenkins, so many people that to really brought these issues to light. And it actually predates it goes back to 2014 in Ferguson when Michael Brown was killed by police brutality.
Hats off to Goodell. I mean, we still need actions to follow the words, but that's not an easy thing for a commissioner to come out and do, because of the 32 owners he's dealing with, there is a faction that is anti everything that is going on. We don't know who they are. We probably never will unless they decide to let us know. But I'm sure behind closed doors, there are some owners that have some very ensconced ways of thinking that haven't changed, even though the last 2 weeks have been rather remarkable.
Well, and again, I would hope that a lot of those owners in, older generation that have been around for a long time, hopefully they can see the change. I mean, Jerry Jones has not said anything publicly yet, but the Dallas Cowboys are one of a very few in the National Football League at the team level that is giving all their employees off for Juneteenth. Go celebrate Juneteenth. That is an NFL work holiday. It is also a holiday within the Cowboys organization. Not all 32 NFL teams have taken, that step yet to make that a day off. It is a step. And you look at Roger Goodell, with Colin Kaepernick, while it has taken several years, it is very clear now what the message is for Colin Kaepernick. And while signing him over the last couple of years would have been a PR move that most teams weren't willing to take on for their backup quarterback, as we talked about this some last week, it was mentioned, now he might be considered a PR asset moving forward and is as a backup quarterback. And I wonder if you're most NFL teams in this COVID-19 period, do you look at maybe carrying 3 quarterbacks instead of 2, just in case one of your quarterbacks does get COVID and is going to be out for a couple weeks? Do you expand the roster on what you want to keep? Because, if your kicker or punter get COVID, you can go find another kicker pretty easily for a couple weeks. You really can't do that with a quarterback. And while Colin has been out of the game for quite a while, and his rust is going to have rust from the quarterback position, you still can't tell me that there's, another 30 guys that are better than Colin Kaepernick based on the workout that we saw a year ago. But the idea of him getting a job in the NFL up until the last couple of weeks seemed kind of far-fetched, if he even wanted it. Roger Goodell said last night that is something that he encourages.
Well, listen, if he wants to resume his career in the NFL, that obviously is going to take a team to make that decision, but I welcome that, support the club making that decision, and encourage them to do that. If his efforts are not on the field, and continuing to work in this space, we welcome to that table and to be able to help us and guide us and help us make better decisions about the kinds of things that need to be done in communities. We have invited him in before, and we want to make sure that everybody's welcome at that table, and trying to help us deal with some very complex, difficult issues that have been around, unfortunately, for a long time. But I hope we're at a point now where everybody's committed to making long-term sustainable change.
Well, two things in there. The one, if he wants, and secondly, the idea that there's a place at the table for him if he chooses not to come back and try to play. That they didn't make a point of saying we invited him before, but there were certain pre-existing conditions that needed to be met for him to, kind of get with the NFL, and that never really came to fruition. My question to you, Jason, is you brought up the fact that hiring or giving Colin Kaepernick a shot, it could be a PR benefit. Do you really believe that there's an owner out there that looks at signing Colin Kaepernick in this environment would be a PR positive?
I think having Colin Kaepernick on your team and as a part of your organization sends a message inside your locker room and into your community that all the support is there. And, prior to the last couple of weeks, everything that we had heard about Colin Kaepernick is he wanted starter money, even if it was going to be for a backup role. We know there's not an NFL team out there that will do that. Pete Carroll said last week, while there isn't a place for him on their team, he would love to see Colin Kaepernick get a job. In fact, had a coach
there it is.
Come out and called him just last week because, he did work out. And, the reality is we don't really know. We don't. If he was demanding starter money to be a backup, and, nobody wants a backup quarterback that has that kind of attention on him. But I think now, especially if you end up carrying three quarterbacks, there is an opening there if Colin Kaepernick truly wants to play in the National Football League. And if not, a job with the National Football League certainly seems like that would be very doable for him.
Jason, that's tough because if you sign him, you can't cut him.
I think you can. If the guy, if you sign the guy, if you bring him in for a workout and you treat him like any other player, I do think you have the ability to cut him if he doesn't. I
think you're being naive there. I think you're being naive. You could not bring him in and cut him. And I'll tell you why. Given now the environment that training camp is going to be is actually the ideal environment for what we're talking about, because the training camps will be kind of bubble. There won't be, there's some of them, or wherever he might land, if he lands, won't be a lot of fans there, and they'll give him kind of a separation point to truly go out and try. But this is a quarterback that hadn't played in 5 years that you have to pay more than you would another quarterback that's got less tenure. Financially, it's not the wisest move. And then secondly, if he's not there, you're stuck with him. And then what happened? You keep him, and then the guy that's in front of him has a bad game or two, and you don't play him. I'm just saying that the question I'm thinking from an owner's point of view. I think that he needs to be signed if he wants to be signed. But from an owner's point of view, I can't win with this other than the initial signing, because once he's mine for good or for bad. And my focus after he signed the contract is to go win. I want him to play. I just don't know if an owner out there is willing to extend themselves that far to deal with everything else. I hope that there is. But I think, and also on Colin Kaepernick's side, do you really want to come back and not look all that good? Because it has been 5 years. Do you lose any standing there?
And let's remember, he had already been benched. He was already no longer the starter in San Francisco. So you can, if you want to argue football merits only, that is a valid argument. Was he a starter quality quarterback in the NFL at the beginning of this? And the answer is he had lost his starting job. If he comes in and performs poorly in a couple of preseason games and gets cut, I think a lot of people will say, well, yeah, man, he played like crap. I mean, that I think will certainly tell the story. The money part of it will be, is he willing to accept what a typical backup quarterback makes? He cannot have, I would not expect him to have high salary demands and actually land on an NFL roster. But I do think very similar to Michael Sam when he was coming out, SEC co-defensive player of the year, made it into the league. He got drafted late, bounced around a little bit, and couldn't play at the NFL level and gets cut with very little fanfare.
That was a very different time, man. Very different time.
But when
on
you
a
look at
less than
controversial
popular front. No, Jason, this doesn't even come close. That is a tiny little match, and this is a spotlight. There wasn't marching in the streets for Michael Sam. He was ahead of his time for sure and worthy of the news that he got. But everybody knew he wasn't that good. Everybody that graded him said, he's a second round. He's not even second round. He's a middle rounder at best because he just wasn't big enough. This is Colin Kaepernick, a previous Super Bowl quarterback that was essentially drummed out of the league, and he's getting an opportunity. And you're the owner that would cut him or leave him on the bench. Dude, I think it's a difficult ask for everybody involved. I would love to see it, and it would be fairy tale. What if he does come back and he's everything we remembered from the great years, and he's in an offense that clicks on a team that's good enough to handle not only the pressure from without, but the pressure from within in this weird time and go win? It's what movies and books are made of, but the possibility of that's awfully slim. It's slim
and
best.
Again, I do think, an owner and a GM, but you got to earn your spot. We'll bring you in, give you a look. And at the same time, right now, probably without much hesitation, you would say Cam Newton is the best available quarterback out there. But
he can't get a gig,
and he doesn't have a gig right now, partly because he can't get a physical, but two, is he willing to go somewhere to be a backup and take backup type money, not. Andy Dalton, if he wasn't willing to take backup money in a prove it kind of year, a 1-year deal, weird COVID off season, I don't have to move because I already have a house in Dallas kind of situation. Cowboys got lucky with the Andy Dalton signing. I don't think teams are good, for Cam Newton to get a job and for Colin to get a job, they're going to be his backup quarterback somewhere. But Kaepernick needs to get signed. See, Cam Newton could probably wait till September, October, wait for a big injury and get in there. But Kaepernick's been out of the game for far too long just to step in. Like I said, he is going to have an amount of rust on him. Very different than, say, Aldon Smith. Go rush the quarterback. He'll have rust, but a lot easier for him to overcome that rust as opposed to reading defenses and learning a playbook from the quarterback position.
Do you think he'll get signed?
I do. And when I hear Pete Carroll talk, when you hear the idea of that teams are going to look for 3 quarterbacks as opposed to 2 because of the COVID situation, they were given extra roster spots right now, with the new CBA. So you've got those additional roster spots, where you might have taken an extra defensive back or a lineman or something. Well, one of those now be a 3rd quarterback out of concern that one of your quarterbacks gets COVID. If you do that, you can't tell me that there's another 30 quarterbacks better than Colin Kaepernick.
But it's not about the 30. It's about the team that signs them. I mean,
Absolutely.
You might already have 3 quarterbacks under contract. There just ain't any room at the end. So you got to go down to just the teams that have an availability. And then you have to go, do they have the money inside of that availability? The number of teams that are even capable of signing him are in single digits. And maybe you can find them on one hand. This is going to be tough. And on the other side of that coin, if I'm Colin, isn't my point proven? I know I want to play again, but can't I now further my idea that I began 4 years ago in a much better way by sitting at the table with the owners and demanding on a daily basis that not only they affect their league, but the communities their teams are in? If it's about the movement, he might be better in better stead to go deal at the highest echelon, other than just prove that they were wrong 4 years ago and should have given him a job way back then.
If it's only about the movement, then yeah, take a job with the NFL and work for the league or work with the league. But if you truly want to be a football player again, you truly want to put on those pads and go out there and throw a football in an NFL game, then we're going to know because, the salary isn't going to be what he wants to make. And, with his league time in the league, his minimum salary is going to be higher than that, undrafted 3rd quarterback, 4th quarterback, training camp body practice squad guy. He's not eligible for that. So a team would be making a commitment, but not at the level that we heard he was asking for several years ago.
I'd love to see him play. I think there's a potential for a storybook kind of close to this that I think America needs. I just think it's going to be difficult for an owner to find it in the financial space and the community space to allow this to go on. Let's hope there's one out there. I think it would be a fantastic story, but I'm not sure who would be served best if he actually did. On the other side of this, the NBA is a little bit closer to coming back, dealing with their own particular issues. Commissioner Silver spoke of the return and the necessity for some players that might not be able to play to stay home. We'll hear from Commissioner Silver of the NBA coming up next here on the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you need masks, go see Sam over at Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro. Sam has all the masks you need. If you're in the medical field, working at a doctor's office, an urgent care center, hospital, a dentist's office, you need surgical medical masks, FDA, CDC approved, get into Sam. He is certified. In fact, he's been supplying masks for the city, for the county, for surrounding counties, even the state of Illinois, because he is an approved vendor. Not only medical masks, but if you need medical gowns, that sort of stuff, Sam can take care of you. If you need those washable and reusable cloth masks for you, for your family members, for your employees, Sam has those as well. He's got the masks. He's got the gaiters. He can get all your needs taken care of. If you need your company logo on those masks or gaiters, get into Sammy's Embroidery Club. He'll get that done. Minimum order of $25 when you put your logo on it. But, putting logos on gear, that is what Sam does. Sammy's Embroidery Club. He's been doing it for a long time. Nobody has better prices. Sammy has all the big name brands. All items do come with a warranty. You need your logo on some hats, on some golf shirts, on T-shirts for your employees. Sammy's Embroidery Club. Go visit that massive showroom on San Pedro. It's a mile inside Loop 410 next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. Call Sammy's Embroidery Club, 210-824-3900, or check the website, samsembroidery.com. You work with Sam on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him, 210-824-3900, 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
We see you.
We hear you.
We denounce systemic racism.
We condemn violence, inequity, and injustice.
We pledge to use the power of our platform to spread facts and educate our communities.
We will be the change that we are calling for. We are united for justice.
I got a question for you. Are you one of those guys that squeaks every time he stands up? Yeah! As you rise and get moving. If you're one of those that are dealing with those sore joints and bad knees and all that, maybe you're carrying too much weight. If you're like me and just started feeling tired of being tired and heavy, give my friends over at the Institute for Functional Health a call. Meet Dr. Torres and find out what I know. That so much of your life is predicated on how you feel, the energy that you have. And if you're carrying extra weight, if you're either lightly or morbidly obese, you're selling yourself short. If you're almost diabetic or you are diabetic, maybe you're nearly hypertensive or you're hypertensive, maybe your arthritis is keeping you completely, still all the time, call my friends at the Institute for Functional Health and find out that you can lose weight in a remarkably short amount of time on a program that is set up for you. Now, I'm not talking about a one-size-fits-all program. I'm not talking about, a bunch of pills and things like that to kind of speed the metabolism. We're talking about a medically derived plan for you to lose weight, a process that's put in place specifically for you that has benefited me extraordinarily. I've lost nearly 40 pounds since last September, and I never really went on a diet. I changed my lifestyle, and as I did, I started seeing the changes. I started losing weight. I noticed that I was sleeping better because I wasn't snoring anymore. I had more energy to get out and go, so it made it easier to lose even more weight. It's one of those self-fulfilling things that if you'll get started, you will see the results. And you got a cheer squad. You've got people that are there to help you the entire time. Those folks at the IFH, man, they are with you from the beginning to the end, knowing full well that if you follow the process, you're going to lose weight and change your life forever. If you've been told that you're healthy, but you really don't feel it, this is for you. If you've been told if you don't lose weight, you're going to be on the pills before you know it, and you're going to start dealing with those ongoing kind of issues that never go away, this is for you as well. Call Dr. Torres, meet him and meet the folks down there and start your road to wellness. Here's the number, 210-468-1891. Again, that's 210-468-1891. InstituteForFunctionalHealth.com is their website. Decide to change your life. Feel better, live better, look good in fashionable clothes. I'll tell you what, it's the best thing I've ever done, and I want it for you. Call Dr. Torres, meet him, and get your process started. Again, the number is 210-468-1891. Give him a call on your road to wellness. We'll meet down at Healthy Town. Call him today. You're going to thank me later.
Sports Center is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage, available at your local grocery stores.
I'm James Pledger, and in Major League Baseball news, Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark released a statement yesterday condemning the recent suggestion by Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred that there might not be a 2020 baseball season. As Manfred told ESPN's Mike Greenberg, he wasn't confident a 2020 season can be played. In the full statement from the Players Association's Twitter account, quote, players are disgusted that after Rob Manfred unequivocally told players and fans that there would be 100% a 2020 season, he has decided to go back on his word and is now threatening to cancel the entire season, end quote. In other baseball news, according to a letter obtained by the Associated Press, several Major League Baseball players and staff have tested positive for COVID-19. Houston Astros ace Justin Verlander posted a video of him throwing from the mound via his Instagram account yesterday with the caption, quote, ready, let's go, end quote. Verlander underwent surgery on his right groin back in mid-March, but now is fully recovered from his injuries and will be good to go if and when the 2020 season ever begins. In the NFL, reports are the Cowboys and Texans have had a small number of players test positive for COVID-19, with Cowboys running back Zeke Elliott being one of the players. Reports are that Zeke is asymptomatic and is feeling fine. I'm James Pledger for ESPN San Antonio.
Ready to start your new career? Thomas J. Henry is one of the largest legal employers in Texas, and Glassdoor named us one of the best places to work in the nation for 2020. Apply today at tjhlaw.com. That's tjhlaw.com. San Antonio, Texas.
Hi, this is Daryl Lyons from Pax Financial Group. Are you thinking about taking Social Security? Are you uncertain? It could be time to have Pax double check your numbers. Also, did you know that if you are 3 months before your 65th birthday, you can apply for Medicare? Did you also know that Pax Financial Group can help you with that process? Connect with Pax by calling 210-881-5700 or online at paxfinancialgroup.com.
Investment advisory and insurance services are offered by Pax Financial Group.
Nigel, I'm going on vacation.
Taking some time off? Good for you, my corpulent commode commander.
I've got specific instructions for you while I'm out.
You name it, boss. I will be your eyes and ears while you're away.
Don't touch anything.
I'll tell the team. No problemo.
Listen, not the team. You. You don't touch anything.
Scheduling?
No.
Payroll?
No.
Incoming calls?
Heck no.
Coffee? At least I can touch the coffee.
Maybe.
I won't let you down. Enjoy your vacation, J-Dog.
Folks, sometimes it's good to take time off, but your home's plumbing and air conditioning, well, when they decide to take a surprise vacation or start working overtime, that's a problem. Call Quarter Moon and we'll get things back on track, working right, and at a fair price. Call Quarter Moon 651-5899.
Okay, team. I've supercharged the coffee machine. It's now extra hot and dispenses 10 times faster. You're welcome. Quick! Call the plumber!
License number N13229 DACLA 000743458.
Dr. Oz here. There's another epidemic in America, and it's called diabetes. 34 million Americans have the disease. Millions more have prediabetes. COVID-19 is posing special risks to those trying to manage their disease. There are simple steps you can take every day. Minimize contacts with others. Maximize a healthy lifestyle. Know your numbers and stay in touch with your doctor. Do all that, and you give yourself the best chance to stay healthy and strong.
Learn more at hamdiabetescenter.org.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. He's Jason, I'm Rob. breaking news, but really this began yesterday as Mike Gundy, the head coach there at Oklahoma State, had a picture taken of himself over the weekend out on Lake Texoma wearing the logo on its T-shirt of an out there kind of radio network, a right-wing conservative network that no one had ever heard of, but espouses or had been accused of and documented espousing racist views and some crackpot stuff. And one of his players, Chuba Hubbard, called him out. Yesterday they had a response. Now Mr. Gundy has an apology. But before we go there, he said this yesterday. This morning, Paul Feinbaum picked up on what Gundy had to say, and it was not kind.
No, and again, I mean, Feinbaum reacting not only to the photo, but then the video that he and Hubbard put out together last night that, you know, even Hubbard has had to defend even being in that video. But Paul Feinbaum just went off on Gundy today.
Let's quit using big words to describe Mike Gundy, cognitively impaired. Mike Gundy is a buffoon. He proves that every time he opens his mouth or does anything for that matter. And Max is right. At this particular moment in history, considering everything that has been going on, to wear that T-shirt is an insult. I don't care what Mike Gundy watches on television. I don't even care what his opinion of what he watches, even though he shares it with us whenever he is given the chance. But to me, that was an insult. And that's why I applaud his players for speaking out. And I'm sorry they had that kumbaya get-together yesterday. Well, you're right, Max. The only person that apologized was the player. The person that should have looked into that camera and said, I'm sorry, I have been insensitive, I will work with you to be better, is the head football coach who makes $5 or $6 million a year, who, frankly, his record doesn't even support it. But I'm not sitting here and going to throw darts at him because he's 2-13 against Oklahoma. I'll leave that to the press out there. What I am here to say is that Mike Gundy has been doing this for a long time. He continues to put his foot into his mouth every time he speaks. And that's why I firmly believe the university would be much better without him. It would cost them a lot of money, maybe $10 to $15 million to buy him out and to fire him. But I can tell you one thing, Oklahoma State would be better today if they fired Mike Gundy than to allow him to continue to embarrass the program and embarrass his players.
So Paul Feinbaum wants him fired.
Yeah.
That's what I took out of that.
You know, as this was going on yesterday, Gundy heard from his boss, Burns Hargis, the AD up there at Oklahoma State, and the tweet that came out then was, I hear and respect the concerns expressed by our black student athletes. This is a time for unity of purpose to confront racial inequities and injustice. We will not tolerate insensitive behavior by anyone at Oklahoma State. So Gundy was taking it from all sides yesterday, and even the retort with he and Chuba Hubbard, the apology or lack thereof that was broadcast out on Twitter didn't seem to ring true. But as we came on air today, Coach Gundy has considered his situation and offered us this.
I had a great meeting with our team today. Our players expressed their feelings as individuals and as team members. They helped me see through their eyes how the T-shirt affected their hearts. Once I learned how that network felt about Black Lives Matter, I was disgusted and knew it was completely unacceptable to me. I want to apologize to all members of our team, former players, and their families for the pain and discomfort that has been caused over the last 2 days. Black lives matter to me. Our players matter to me. These meetings with our team have been eye-opening and will result in positive changes for Oklahoma State football. I sincerely hope the Oklahoma State family, near and far, will accept my humble apology as we move forward.
That is head coach Mike Gundy of the Oklahoma State Cowboys apologizing for the T-shirt he wear and apologizing for the insensitivity. We'll talk about it next. Hang around. We're going to talk Gundy here on the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com.
You know, injuries do happen even during a crisis. And when they do, you can skip the ER and get to an Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for acute injuries like broken bones, sports injuries, dislocations, sprains, and strains. They have 2 San Antonio locations, extended hours Monday through Saturday. At Ortho Now, they have the on-site x-ray casting and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no emergency room or urgent care copay. So if you're injured, get to Ortho Now. Go to tsaog.com/ortho now for more information. Again, the website, tsaog.com/ortho now.
It's a good thing this video game is rated mature because it's going to be babysitting the kids tonight.
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
San Antonio's sports leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
Your source to local news in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Everyday news stories are spoken, providing hope and inspiration. The Express News is committed to providing timely and accurate reporting to help make a difference in the community we live in. Support local. We are San Antonio. We are the Express News. Come read us today at expressnews.com.
At Sprint, we understand saving money for your family is now more important than ever. That's why we're offering our best unlimited deal. Switch and get 4 lines of unlimited for just $100 a month. That's right, 4 lines for $100. Plus, the plan includes Hulu, 500 megabytes of mobile hotspot, DVD quality streaming, and more. If that's not enough, to really amp this up, we're including 4 amazing iPhone 11s on us when you trade in iPhone 6s or newer in any condition. And now, Sprint customers enjoy access to expanded coverage on the T-Mobile network. Shop from the comfort of your home at Sprint.com, call 800-SPRINT-1, or come see us in our stores. Phone after $29.17 per month credit for 18 months credit. Apply within 2 bills. Cancel early. Remaining balance due. Requires new account. Unlimited basic after $731.21. Pay $35 per month per line with autopay. Data deprioritization during congestion. Coverage and offer not available everywhere. Excludes taxes, fees, and roaming. Speed maximums. Use rules. $30 activation fee and restrictions apply.
Keeping farms running, construction moving, and towns maintained is essential. That's why Kubota is working to keep you working. Right now, get 0% financing and no payments for 90 days. Offer expires June 30th. Visit KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer. Kubota. Together, we do more.
For over 70 years, Ewald Kubota has served the communities of South and Central Texas. I'm John Ewald, and Ewald Kubota is an essential business. If you need your equipment repaired, serviced, or replaced, please come see us. We're here for you.
An auto policy from State Farm gets you collision coverage. And this radio ad from State Farm gets you coverage of this beloved 90s hit.
I hit a car. I hit a car. I hit a car. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My agent's gonna help me.
For more coverage, visit statefarm.com.
When it comes to your vehicle, you've got a fuel gauge to check the gas, a temperature gauge for your engine, and to check your battery, you've got, well, Advance Auto Parts. Advance has free battery testing and automotive battery installation with no appointment necessary. And if you're dusting off those ATVs, motorcycles, and jet skis, we've also got $10 off select power sport batteries after mail-in rebate. Your summer's waiting. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
It is the Blitz. Welcome aboard ESPN San Antonio. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. We went to break listening to Mike Gundy, head coach at Oklahoma State, football coach there, apologize in no uncertain terms for a variety of misdeeds and, I don't know, ignorance. What do you... Let's play his apology again so we can kind of set the table here. And I really want to hear what you have to think about this, Jason.
I had a great meeting with our team today. Our players expressed their feelings as individuals and as team members. They helped me see through their eyes how the T-shirt affected their hearts. Once I learned how that network felt about Black Lives Matter, I was disgusted and knew it was completely unacceptable to me. I want to apologize to all members of our team, former players, and their families for the pain and discomfort that has been caused over the last 2 days. Black lives matter to me. Our players matter to me. These meetings with our team have been eye-opening and will result in positive changes for Oklahoma State football. I sincerely hope the Oklahoma State family, near and far, will accept my humble apology as we move forward.
I don't know how humble. I don't know how humble the apology was. I mean, clearly he was reading off of a script, and there is nothing wrong with that, especially on Twitter. You want to make sure, your message doesn't get cut off at some point. So, he's paying attention to the time level. But, dude, if you want to be sincere, and again, I am a firm believer that, in 2020, you can't be a college or high school coach and have racism. You
ain't
can't.
racist.
But he didn't need those players to explain to him what OAN was. Is that what OAN, right? I didn't know what OAN was until I saw his T-shirt, and I got educated. But apparently he has talked about that network before as the one that he turns to because they give the news and not commentary. If that is something that he watches on the regular, he didn't need his players to say, well, this is their view on that. He probably already knew what their view on that was. So don't lie to me. The apology is forced because he had an opportunity yesterday with his player that went to Twitter. He could have apologized then, and he chose not to. He apologizes late today after a series of meetings. Don't tell me that's humble and sincere.
The only apology we heard yesterday was from Chubba Hubbard saying, I apologize for calling him out on Twitter instead of calling him personally. That was the only apology we heard yesterday. Weight brought to bear from school president and school AD. People coming at him from every side. Paul Feinbaum, Paul, I appreciate your ideas and what you have to say, but got to keep in mind he's SEC guy. So I think he'll take a pot shot at any other conference if the opportunity is there just to promote his conference. So I think we have to take what Paul Feinbaum had to say with a grain of salt, though. What he did have to say, if it came from somebody else, I think we'd all go, yeah. I do think that there's some issues with Gundy, and he has consistently been on the fringes, but that's basically how he rolls. And Oklahoma State has had a history of guys like this. I mean, they had Les Miles and they had Jimmy. I mean, they've had some characters there. So I think he's gotten some leeway because of the history there and coaching. But this is a mess that Gundy, I think, will probably survive. But there's a lot of alumni out there that go, yeah, you were only 3-13 against OU. I mean, it's not like you're beating the guys you're supposed to beat. So he's going to have to coach well and win some games, or I think the hook got a little bit closer to his neck than it would have been otherwise.
I look at that, and I mean, he's beloved there, played there, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But he heard from enough of his bosses and probably boosters and alumni and, situations like what we saw with, Feinbaum and others calling him out, that he came across as extremely tone deaf over the weekend. And yesterday, that video that he put out didn't do him any good. But apologizing now when it doesn't feel sincere, you're doing what you have to do because your PR department said, "Hey, man, let's put this video out and try to wait for somebody else to step in it, and they'll quit talking about Oklahoma State again."
Everybody needs there's just a passage in the Bible that always reminds me of this Paul on the road to Damascus, where you have this moment where you were one thing that was bad, and you have this serendipitous moment where you realize everything you were in the past was wrong, and you're going to right your ways and put actions in front of those words that you start speaking. And if this is what happens with Oklahoma State, this is a good thing. I mean, let's wake up to the problem, Coach. I don't think anybody believes you're a racist, but obviously there are some tendencies there as a head coach there that do need to be addressed with your young black athletes. And if he puts actions towards, hey, this is a good thing, but he's going to have to survive the firestorm. And I think you're right, Jason. It does feel a little hollow. He's going to have to be a bit more contrite and consistently contrite to those that he angered and upset. And we'll see if he survives long term here, but it doesn't seem very pretty right now. This is going to be a tough one for the Gundy family.
But he will survive this.
Short term, he's going to have to beat OU soon, or they're going to remember, you know what, this on top of that, at some point, you're going to have to get her done. We got a lot to get into, and we got to take a break. So hang on here on the Blitz. When we get back here in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to dive into the all-East NFC East decade team. Lots of arguments about the quarterback, but a lot of Cowboys, a lot of Giants. We'll look at it. You're here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Come after me! I'm a man. I'm 40.
Napa know-how. You don't have to know fancy terms like ceramic, metallic, and calipers to know that screeching brakes aren't a good thing. And now at most Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers, you'll get a $75 prepaid Visa card when you spend $250 on brakes. Do it yourself or have it done for you and save $75. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 6/30/20.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool, so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
Redbox has top entertainment when you need it most. Watch as 12 strangers wake up in the middle of nowhere, not knowing how they got there or why they've been chosen. They soon learn it's for one very specific purpose: the hunt. Can Crystal, played by Betty Gilpin, turn the tables on the elite group of hunters led by Athena, played by Hilary Swank? Don't miss this riveting, action-packed thriller and rent The Hunt tonight. With our current world situation changing every day, one thing remains the same: our love for movies. Make it a movie night and visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
This is Stephen Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, 1250 ESPN San Antonio.
And 94.5 FM, where the pros play.
For everything Dallas Cowboys.
KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minix, Rob Thompson, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. Go to ESPNSA.com on the regular. Not only we keep you updated with local sports news, but when we're on, we're on. You can check out our YouTube feed right there and check out the beautiful persona of Jason Minix there on the top right-hand side. I'm Rob Thompson. James Pledger at home. We're taking you until 7 o'clock this hour. Well, ESPN has voted. The NFC East All-Decade team is now permanently in stone.
Whatever.
Hey, it's what else are we going to talk about, right, Jay? So let's find something arbitrary to argue about, and we will. Roger Goodell speaks about the NFL. We'll look at the process of apology as the NFL focuses now not only on trying to get back to play, but the Black Lives Matter movement. And Colin Kaepernick, Commissioner Silver of the NBA, spoke on the NBA's return and their stance on players and their beliefs and whether they should come back and play. Lots from that. All that coming out of a Mike Greenberg hosted special sports center last night that discussed coming back to the sporting world, not only in the frame of the coronavirus, but also the social upheaval that we're in the midst of now, the revolution that's happening, long overdue for sure. And then, hey, Tom Brady has a photo shoot. A spread of the glorious Tom Brady in a variety of Tampa Bay Buck uniforms. It was like viewing liquid sunshine, Jason. It's just beautiful to see Tom Brady posing majestically like he is, that number 12 and that pretty new red that Tampa Bay's wearing.
It was strange. It was strange when
It
I
was
saw
really
those.
weird, wasn't it?
It looked actually stranger than the photoshopped ones that we saw when he first signed with Tampa Bay. That was strange to see first thing this morning. And before we get into the battle of the NFC East, we just got an email from our big boss, the CEO of our company, and Bob Prophet. Subject: congrats on your 3-month anniversary. I'm like, what is Bob Prophet emailing us? And it was 3 months ago today. Almost all of you made the very quick transition to working from home. It's been 3 months. And he's got a cartoon in there. I can't remember. Do I work at home or live at work? One of the two.
I feel slighted by this.
And
by you, Rob, as you mentioned in the return. And there's James comfortably at home.
In the glass box.
Well, you
of
are
fun.
home. I mean,
got to
you
try
are home.
I mean, I spend more time here than home, but I mean, this isn't home.
It's like but for you, it's kind of like your house sitting. I mean, you could run around naked if you wanted to. You can get in the fridge. I mean, there's nobody there. It's like you're in somebody else's house. I'd be living it up. I'd be like Macaulay Culkin or Tom Cruise sliding around and playing music. You got access to the world of music and great speakers. You got TV. I think you're all alone there.
And look, I mean, we've all
Except
been in
for
your
our boss,
studio.
Greg Martin.
We've all, yeah, but he goes home early. He's probably
down.
home by now.
He's doing the same thing right now. He knows you're working. He's running around doing what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah,
I bet if you looked out right now, you see Greg Martin sliding by in his socks and just an Oxford shirt on with some Bob Seger in the background. Look out right now. Check. I bet he's doing it right now.
Stay in your glass box of fun pledge where you have plenty of food. You've got lots of snacks. You've got lots of beverages. You've got access to 2 televisions right there, and a comfortable chair. I mean, that's actually better than your apartment, and they pay you to be there.
And you're getting paid, and I'm sure there's still periodic food. Some places are still dropping food off. Oh, really? That dried up.
That
even
dried
for
up. Haven't
even
seen
for the
food
suits?
left for anybody in 3 months.
That's because they're shipping it to the house now. I got pork rinds. Come on by.
I'm telling you, I got to drive to work. I thought it was a pleasant diversion. I hadn't had an opportunity to do that in a while. Yesterday, I got to get in the car and find out that half my route is now under construction over the last 3 months. They seem to have changed everything. That Austin Highway, that's about to be a significant mess.
It already is. I mean, every time I need to go up to the radio station, I think I always right when I get to the corner of Harry Wurzbach and Eisenhower, I think, oh crap, I should have gone down to Paramvidal and come in the back way, because it is a disaster over there on Austin Highway. I'm glad that I've missed that for the last 3 months.
I'm going to have to change my travel.
Which way do you come up Austin Highway? From 35 or from?
I come from 410 to Harry Wurzbach, and then take that left on Eisenhower and cross that way. But they're about to do all. It's getting
not
worse.
bad there, except for that light is forever. And then a lot of times, when I'm up at the radio station, it's around lunchtime, and there's a couple of my favorite restaurants over in that area. I always say favorites, but my usual lunch spots that I haven't visited in 3 months. And I think, well, I'm going to go over there, and
Nope.
no, I'm not. I'm not dealing with this mess. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's that good Hero place that's right over there, or the L&L Hawaiian. Up there, that some places that I would go to on a pretty regular basis that I haven't been to since this thing closed down.
Have you seen what the design is going to be like? This is a years-long construction program. We are at the very beginning of what looks like it's going to be. What are they called? Like a mix master kind of thing, where you're going to go up and around, and they're eliminating
on
all
Austin
the lights.
Highway?
Yeah, you should go check out what the plans are. Yeah, this is going to be a long-term fix-up for our little
how do I get over there to Tong's Thai or Purple Garlic?
I recommend you take 1604 the other direction. Oh, head over there, over on 90, and head south over there by Pancake Flats and Southwest High School. Come all the way around backwards. I think that's the best way for you to take. In fact, I recommend to everybody who's listening to the Blitz right now, take that route.
Absolutely. Stay in traffic forever as you try to get from the radio station to Broadway over there in Alamo Heights, and all those good little lunch spots down that way, or getting down to Augie's Barbecue there on Broadway.
Oh, man, barbecue. Jason, the ESPN voters have voted, and the East's all-decade team has been announced by ESPN, and it is certainly peppered with lots of Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants, and, actually more Cowboys and Eagles, a few Giants, and no Washington Redskins. First of all, is this just an absolute indictment of Jason Garrett when you look at the NFC All East decade team and you just see from Zeke to almost the entire offensive line to Dez and to Witten and nothing to show for it? And or is this just there's just not a whole lot of talent in the NFC East, and you were just
well,
that's a term I was going to use, but I normally get in trouble.
It's a combination of both. It's the NFC least all-decade team. And the Redskins have 0 players on the offense. They do have a couple of players on the defense, including D'Angelo Hall. But, it is a lot of Cowboys and a lot of Eagles. You talk about the indictment of Jason Garrett, who is the head coach for a decade. Doug Peterson is the coach of the decade, and he's had the job since 2016. And won a Super Bowl. Honorable mention went to Tom Coughlin, who coached the Giants from 2004 to 2015. So Jason Garrett doesn't even get honorable mention.
Behind the crusty old pirate that is Coughlin. Get off my lawn!
But the huge uproar is the quarterback of the decade in the NFC East is Eli Manning.
Of all the different position groups, I really don't have a problem with this. I know that our good friend and co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover and Blogging the Boys guy and Ocho Live is going to bleed Dallas Cowboy blue, but Eli Manning was the quarterback of the decade. There's no argument that Dak should be in consideration for this, is there?
Not Dak. Tony Romo.
Oh, that's even more so. What is Romo? No, it's the same argument.
Well, I mean, but when you look at Eli Manning, while he does have a Super Bowl in the decade, when he wasn't winning a Super Bowl, I mean, he was bad. I mean, you look at an 11-5 year, 6-10, 6-10, 7-9, 5-11, 3-12, 1-3 before he got benched. You look at his overall record and his interception to touchdown ratio over the majority of this past decade. And, this looks like more of a career achievement for Eli because early on he was better. But over the last decade, I mean, the Giants have been awful. I mean, from 2010 to 2019, 10-6, 9-7, 9-7, 7-9, 6-10, 6-10, 11-5, 3-12, 5-11, 1-3, benched, and now out of the league.
He's got a Super Bowl. He won more playoff games in 1 year than Romo did his entire career. I mean, that's enough to separate you. And whether you love Romo or hate him,
you win a Super Bowl, you only have a 10-plus win season in 1 year out of a decade when you win 11-5. Romo has a couple of those kind of years in there, but Eli Manning. Now, RJ was making a case for either Carson Wentz or Kirk Cousins over Eli Manning. I don't know if I'd go there. And I am a card-carrying member of the Romo-sexual fan club, but I would take Tony Romo over Eli Manning for quarterback of the decade.
You've got a skin on the wall. That's the only separator. Everything else is just bits and pieces. What matters is winning. And he got him a Super Bowl, and Romo never did. And the sad part about it is, as we look back on that decade of the Cowboys, is there was always a reason. You never blamed Romo for any of it, but there just never was the success when it counted. And that's the separator in my mind. I think he's certainly better than all the rest, but the one difference that Eli has over Tony or Wentz or whoever else you want to throw in there is the Super Bowl win. That's what it is.
And that's it. And he's got 2 Super Bowls. And I will say this, Eli will go to the Hall of Fame because his last name is Manning, and he does have 2 Super Bowl rings. But quarterback of the decade is, hard to look at his winning percentage and figure he kept his job for a decade.
Was there any other wide receiver that you would have considered other than Dez Bryant or Odell Beckham?
That's the interesting, because you got to go back and look at all the different players over a 10-year period, how many they played. But Odell and Dez would be the first 2 that I would mention, just for what they've done over the last 10 years. I don't know, if you look at
like Deshaun Jackson, maybe
better than those 2.
No,
and the Redskins haven't really had anybody. The Eagles, haven't really had any consistency. Deshaun, if there was a third wide receiver on there, probably would get it. But that's about it. That without doing any research and looking at who has all played where, those are it. That's where I would go.
It just appears to be a travesty that there was so little output from the amount of talent that the Cowboys had in the decade. And you look at, and it was in all the right positions. So they literally had what they had to get to go to at least get a couple of playoff wins, and it just wasn't there. History will not be kind to Jason Garrett.
I think a big part of that is while you see, some the offensive line, from the Cowboys on this NFC East all-decade team, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, and Jason Witten. You've got Zeke. You can make an argument for 2 different quarterbacks, but on the defensive side of the ball, you got DeMarcus Lawrence, and you've got DeMarcus Ware, and you've got Sean Lee, and that's your only representation on the defensive side. And I think, and you do get Dan Bailey in there as your kicker, but it is, we know how that ended. So, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, a big reason why the Cowboys haven't won is because of the defense. And I think a list like this illustrates it. I mean, the focus was on offense, and if your offense failed to score, your defense couldn't stop anybody.
They were ahead of their time. We'll give them that when they thought when it was 2011, they were coaching for 2021. You don't need defense now. You just got to score points, right? That's all you
40
need.
burgers. 40 burgers.
There you go. Get yourself a 40 burger. Roger Goodell spoke last night in front of in the midst of a really interesting show that was hosted by Mike Greenberg. It was a special sports center where all the individual commissioners of our 5 majors had an opportunity to speak on their plans, not only to return to play, but what each individual league and team is doing in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement that has really caught fire. Roger Goodell speaking on the errors of the past of the NFL and the future of Colin Kaepernick next, right here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for BSG, the company that brings you the best in home security and smart home technology. You can get the same security in your house that I have in my house when you go to bsgtexas.com and take advantage of an incredible promotion. $59.99 a month for the LCD smart wireless security system. With that, you get 2 outdoor security cameras, a video doorbell, a smart lock, 24/7 monitoring, and the smart home app. No money down, no credit check. Most other security companies charge $50 a month or so to monitor a security system, and that doesn't include any equipment. Now, it's pretty easy. I've had some people ask me, well, what all do you get with that? Security cameras, they're easy. I got one in the front, one in the back. The video doorbell, they call it Sky Bell, works fantastic. The smart door lock, it's got the code on there, but also on my app, I can lock and unlock my front door. I can see if, somebody's trying to get in, or you leave the house, think, did I lock my door? Yep. You can check your app right there. If it's unlocked, you can lock it. If you need to let somebody in when you don't want to give them your code, you can do that. It is an incredible thing that until you have it, you don't realize how cool it is when you do have it. And that's one of the great things about BSG, the smart home technology, because not only did they put in my security system, but they did my surround sound speaker system, my AC thermostat, outdoor lights, my garage door opener, and it all works under one app. I'm very happy with the service and all the cool toys that I have from BSG. They even installed that same security system at my mother's house. Again, go to the website, bsgtexas.com. They're a great local company. They've been in San Antonio for over 20 years. No gimmicks, no high-pressure salespeople. You can buy online and save at bsgtexas.com or call 210-877-1222. 210-877-1222, or again online, bsgtexas.com.
His high school counselor said he'd never amount to anything. Lucky guess.
I know that we have identified ourselves as a marching band to nowhere.
Dan Levitard, weekdays 9 till noon. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Nobody beats our prices on high-quality performance window tint and expert installation. It's essential to protect yourself and your family from the sun's hot rays and car thieves. Save $100 off regular winter prices when you purchase the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm package. This is a deal. Save $100 off our regular winter prices now at the start of summer. Limited to stock on hand. For 36 years, Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm special. Want to make your car go thump, 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 mother thump? Premium car stereos on sale. Sony, Kicker, JVC, JBL, Diamond, Kenwood, Memphis Audio, all on sale. GPS, remote start systems, all on sale. Save $100 on the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm special. Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm special. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Everyone's loving what Diamonds Direct is doing right now. It's the best stimulus plan ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing on any purchase with no money down. It's Diamonds Direct's way of helping you make your money go further as we all look forward to better days. Just pick any item in Diamonds Direct showcases. Get the amazing value price you know we're known for. Make no down payment and spread your payments over 5 years without paying a dime in interest. That means a $6,000 designer ring is yours for just $100 a month. This makes everything more affordable at a time when we need it most. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, colored gemstones, designer fashion jewelry. Take the price injuries, divide by 60, and that's your payment. You can even finance the sales tax. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love with Diamonds Direct's most spectacular offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest with nothing down. Now for a limited time on approved credit. Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera.
Injuries happen even during a crisis. When they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, sports injuries, dislocations, and sprains and strains. With 2 locations, they have extended hours Monday through Saturday, on-site x-ray, casting, and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury with no urgent care or emergency room copay. Injured? Get to Ortho Now. Visit TSAOG.com/Ortho Now for more information.
O'Reilly. Could your car use a spring cleaning? Now's the time to stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for great deals on everything you need to keep your car looking new. Like Mother's California Gold Wash and Wax, just $4.99 for a 64-ounce bottle. That's a $6 savings. Or online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It could be a routine drive to pick up the kids after school or an epic road trip across the country. No matter where your travels take you, we know those miles count. We're Marathon. We have over 5,700 stations across our great nation. Our people are working hard every day to provide you with quality top-tier gasoline to improve engine performance and fuel your life. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Make up your mind. Decide.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. The Blitz is always brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. An experienced personal injury attorney is one phone call away. The number to remember is 210-900-0400. If you're dealing with an insurance company after a collision of some sort and you do not have a lawyer representing you, you will not get all the money that you deserve. Make the call, 210-900-0400. Now, Jason, last night, this was something that had been kind of in the wind at ESPN, but I'll tell you, it was put together rather quickly. Mike Greenberg hosted a special sports center last night after we went off air on the mothership there. He invited all of the different commissioners to come and join and discuss the state of sports in the United States as we turn the corner towards playing. All the different leagues have their own issues, certainly, but there are things that they share, and they wanted to address those. Roger Goodell has had an opportunity over the last couple of weeks to kind of shine his image a bit. And to his credit, I think he has handled the George Floyd murder and the Black Lives Matter movement and the idea of bringing football back and all that's gone along with it as well as possibly could be expected. Can we give him that grade?
I think you can, because there has been a dramatic shift in what we're hearing from the league office, from his video that he dropped on a Friday. And RJ and I were talking about it then. That was an apology to Cap, even though he didn't really apologize directly to Colin Kaepernick. But for him to say in that video, I was wrong and we as a league were wrong, and then turn around a couple days later and commit the league to a $250 million donation over a 10-year period, it has been incredible in the response from the league, which we haven't seen before. And he echoed those thoughts again last night with Greenberg.
We should have listened to our players earlier. Our players, including Colin Kaepernick, including Eric Reed, including Kenny Stills, and so many others, Malcolm Jenkins, so many people that to really brought these issues to light. And it actually predates, it goes back to 2014 in Ferguson, when Michael Brown was killed by police brutality.
It's a worthy, steady first step, but we have to remember he's just the commissioner. Roger Goodell has never scouted a football player, never cut a football player, never signed a football player. All he does is deal with the owners. So he can certainly, he needs to apologize. He is the shield. And as James and I were talking earlier, I think you put it best. That Roger Goodell now is the shield of the NFL. He has to deflect the slings and arrows that are aimed at the league because he is, in fact, the face of it, though he has no control over what individual owners do.
No, and again, and he works for those individual owners, which is why it was kind of interesting last night, although he did say it in a very diplomatic way about Colin Kaepernick. It's not really up to him, but he certainly encourages a team to sign Colin Kaepernick.
Well, listen, if he wants to resume his career in the NFL, that obviously is going to take a team to make that decision, but I welcome that, support the club making that decision and encourage them to do that. If his efforts are not on the field, and continuing to work in this space, we welcome to that table and to be able to help us and guide us and help us make better decisions about the kinds of things that need to be done in communities. We have invited him in before, and we want to make sure that everybody's welcome at that table and trying to help us deal with some very complex, difficult issues that have been around, unfortunately, for a long time. But I hope we're at a point now where everybody's committed to making long-term sustainable change.
That is Roger Goodell speaking on ESPN Sports Center last night, hosted by Mike Greenberg, as they were speaking with all the different commissioners regarding the return to sports amongst the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, the discussion now is going to lead toward Colin Kaepernick. The apology is out there. The acceptance that was and he was blackballed from the league. I don't think anybody can now deny that. But now the opportunity is available for him to come back. And Goodell he's in an interesting position as he has to deal with the return of Colin Kaepernick. And, he can say he strongly recommends and would certainly support that. He doesn't get to hire him, Jason. And do you think that Colin Kaepernick has any desire to come back and be a quarterback in the NFL, knowing that he ain't going to be a starter, that he will be holding a clipboard like a first or second year pro, learning a new offense in a virtual way?
You can't. We will find out if Colin still has the desire to be a professional football player. He tells us that. He put on a workout a year ago. He certainly seems to be in shape, but he is going to be rusty when and if he does come back. I think some comments that Pete Carroll made last week where he said, he hadn't had any conversations about Colin in a while, but the day before his press conference or the day of his press conference, he said a team called him about him. A coach called him, and because they worked him out. He thought about signing him a couple years ago, did not. He did say he does think that Colin could still be in this league, could play in this league, and teams are interested. Although there's no place for him on his team right now because they're set with Russell Wilson and Geno. But I do wonder if there is going to be an opportunity for Kaepernick to get a job if more teams decide to carry 3 quarterbacks on the active roster instead of 2 because of COVID-19 for fear of one of your 2 quarterbacks gets sick and has to quarantine for a couple of weeks at the minimum. If it's your kicker, but you think about all the positions that don't have a lot of depth, quarterbacks and kickers and punters. Well, if your punter comes down with the COVID, you can go find another punter for a couple of weeks. You can do that with a field goal kicker. You can't really do that with a quarterback.
I've heard, you have to look at the teams that will be available to sign him. And there's already teams out there that they're not available to. They don't have the money, nor do they have the space. They got quarterbacks under contract. Money is spoken for. There just isn't enough to pay Colin Kaepernick for some teams. Others do. And I've heard a lot of talk about the New England Patriots. I mean, they've got Garrett Stidham sitting there, and certainly, I guess they hope he's the long-term future of the Patriots. But I mean, let's be realistic. Doesn't it feel like if he was to come back, that Kaepernick would be a perfect fit there, because that's a franchise that is very much accustomed to being on the forefront of a lot of different things with Kraft as the owner and Belichick there. But you have the dynamic of Robert Kraft's relationship to President Trump, and you wonder if that would get in the way of what an owner believes. And I think that goes around with the rest of the NFL. It's going to be hard to find a spot for Cap to land.
Well, and again, you would think like a team like New England would be a good opportunity because, they're unsettled at the quarterback position. I think where Colin Kaepernick goes, you have to be very settled with who your starter is. So if your starter has a bad game, you're not pressured into playing somebody that might not be ready to play because, and if you do bring him in, and I know we talked about this earlier, if he just doesn't cut it in training camp, can you cut him if you do bring him in? I think you can for football reasons, just like, for Tim Tebow, he got looks, he got chances. It wasn't going to work out, but it probably would have served some teams well to have a guy on the team. But I think once you start making football-related decisions, you make football-related decisions. And if you got to cut somebody, you cut somebody. But I think it would be better for Colin Kaepernick to go to a place that has a solid starting quarterback to where if there was a bad game or a bad series, instantly you aren't calling for the backup quarterback. And that's if he is the number 2 quarterback on the roster. He could end up being the number 3 quarterback on the roster. And then you start looking at financials and say, minimum salary for his service years into the league, is that worth it for a number 3 quarterback? Because everybody is working within a salary cap. And you go back to a couple years ago, especially when he was, apparently talking to the Seahawks about a job. The stories were then, whether true or not, the stories were then that he was still looking for starter money to go be a backup. And ain't no team going to pay starter money for a backup quarterback.
It would be a dream, though. It would be the perfect story, and not the bookend to the story of Colin Kaepernick, but certainly it would put a period on the end of his NFL career if he could come back and actually found a way on the field and then was successful in a very bizarre time. The table would be set for one of those great stories that I think we're all rooting for. It's just going to be a difficult kind of proposition for him to not only get on the team, but then to be successful after a 5-year layoff. It's not going to be easy. And as Goodell spoke about Colin Kaepernick, Commissioner Silver of the NBA spoke of the return there. And this on the in the background, you had Kyrie Irving over the weekend have a Zoom call with some 80 different NBA players. And the discussion turned toward whether these players should even think about playing given the current state of our society and whether their time would be better spent promoting Black Lives Matter and the righting the wrongs and fixing the inequities. And there's certainly something to be said for that. And we'll hear from Commissioner Silver coming back on his response to what if some players don't necessarily want to play, whether it be for the social efforts that they need to make or just general health concerns in the midst of a COVID breakout. And not only do we hear from Commissioner Silver, but Dalla Dame will let us in on where he is as the NBA prepares to come back. Lots to talk about here. Hang around. You're on the Blitz. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you're having trouble with your air conditioner, maybe some plumbing issues at the house, there is one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC at 210-651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are experts in worst-case scenarios, and if you're calling them, at least in your world, that is worst case. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. At Quartermoon, their service trucks are fully stocked. They have all the equipment needed for any job, from a faucet leak to a leak in your slab. At Quartermoon, they do not have commission sales reps. They will provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau. 210-651-5899. 651-5899 or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Coming up Wednesday, when it comes to the NBA, college football, and the NFL, things are changing fast. As for baseball, I don't know. We'll have the latest from all that, plus my top 3-ish rankings and more Wednesday, Golic and Wingo.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
My name is Jessica. I work in banking, and I'm a busy mom and wife. Years ago, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. I slept all the time, was fatigued, had no energy, and a bad attitude. My doctor kept telling me my labs were in the normal range, but I knew something was wrong. My husband heard about the Institute for Functional Health, and we decided to make an appointment. It was very emotional because finally somebody heard me. They explained that a normal range may not be normal for me, and they would help figure out exactly what was wrong. I had hope, and I had answers and a doctor-supervised plan. Now I've lost 50 pounds and I'm still losing. My medications have been scaled back, my emotions are stable, and I have lots of energy. I even went clothes shopping in my own closet. People at work say I'm happy, perky, and my husband says he's not walking on eggshells around me any longer. The Institute for Functional Health changed my life.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
Napa know-how.
You don't have to know fancy terms like ceramic, metallic, and calipers to know that screeching brakes aren't a good thing. And now at most Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers, you'll get a $75 prepaid Visa card when you spend $250 on brakes. Do it yourself or have it done for you and save $75. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care centers. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 6/30/20.
The year was 1919. Barbasol shaving cream was invented by a dreamer named Frank Shields. The world's first modern shave cream, Barbasol changed the face of shaving forever. A few billion shaves later, Frank's dream lives on. Behind every face is a dream. Barbasol proudly salutes every fearless, self-assured, wide-eyed dreamer all across America. Celebrating 100 years. Barbasol.
Foot odor throwing you off your game? Stick to a winning game plan with odor eaters featuring 3 advanced odor and wetness fighters. The lineup provides long-lasting odor control plus more to keep your feet on their game.
Odor Eaters powder provides outstanding moisture control. Clear drying spray is the MVP in preventing athlete's foot, while insoles work continuously to manage wetness while adding a layer of comfort. Pick up today at Walmart, Target, CVS, Dollar General, or other fine retailers.
Odor Eaters. Destroy foot odor with the best in odor defense.
For us, we feel this is what we do. We put on NBA basketball. We think that for the country, it'll be a respite from enormous difficulties people are dealing with in their lives right now. And I also think in terms of social justice issues, it'll be an opportunity for NBA players in the greater community to draw attention to these issues, because the world's attention will be on the NBA in Orlando, Florida, if we're able to pull this off.
Commissioner Silver, speaking of the NBA's possibilities if they were to return and the respite they would offer, welcome on the Blitz here on ESPN San Antonio. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Keep in mind, Father's Day is this weekend. You're running out of time to win yourself the very best gift you can give, Papa. That's $1,000 and a year's supply of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds, the best pork rind you've ever put in your gullet. What an easy and great way to celebrate the best and most important holiday of the year. June 21st is Daddy's Day. And if you're on our ESPN San Antonio page watching live, Pledge is offering us, I believe that the purple, that's kimchi, right? Or is that that's
a new
kimchi's
flavor.
orange. Which one is that one? I have not gotten to partake of that one, I don't think.
Oven-baked blackberry habanero.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're talking about this foodie kind of stuff. This is a next level kind of pork rinds, not your run of the mill chicharrones. This is elevated cuisine and not pub grub as we get there. Commissioner Silver of the NBA is I think universally considered to be the best commissioner in sports because of the relationship that he has managed to forge not only with ownership but also the very close relationship he's managed to form with not only the players union, but those individual players, Chris Paul being a prime example. As they move closer and closer to playing in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement, Jason, to hear Commissioner Silver bring up the fact that he understands, he hears Kyrie Irving and the faction of the NBA players that think it's possible that maybe coming back to play isn't the best thing for some players because their time might be better spent advancing the movement. And to hear Commissioner Silver talk about this again reflects to me anyway that there isn't another leader of a league anywhere in the world more in tune to his players and his owners at the same time than Commissioner Silver.
Our conversations have been with the Players Association and their leadership over the past several months, and we work through all of those issues in terms of health and safety, what the environment will be like on the campus. But I can only say it may not be for everyone. I mean, it will entail enormous sacrifice on behalf of those players and for everyone involved, the coaches, the referees. Listen, it's not an ideal situation. We're trying to find a way to our own normal in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of essentially a recession or worse with 40 million unemployed, and now with enormous social unrest in the country. And so as we work through these issues, I can understand how some players may feel that it's not for them. And as you said, it could be for a host of reasons. It may be for family reasons. It may be for health reasons they have, or it may be because they feel, as some players have said very recently, that their time is best spent elsewhere. And so again, we're dealing with a players association representing 450 guys, for 22 teams. When you include the two-way players, we're talking about bringing roughly 375 players down to Orlando. And not surprisingly, there's not a uniform view among those players. My sense is we're going to be able to work through most of those issues over the next few weeks. But as I said, that we also have an arrangement with the Players Association where if a player chooses not to come, it's not a breach of his contract. We accept that.
It's a lot to digest from a minute and a half from the commissioner, but all of it. I mean, and again, some of it is information that we had heard before. If a player doesn't want to go, that's fine. He won't get paid, but there is no penalty if he doesn't go, which makes you wonder about guys that are, the bottom of the standings as far as playoff teams that are probably going to get bounced in the first round, or, a team like the Spurs who, will get 8 games and probably don't make the playoffs. Is it going to be worth it for some of those guys for 8 games to go for a variety of reasons? You're going to have guys that say, I'm out, not going.
And I applaud them for being honest and forthright. Look, you're not going to get my 100% for whatever reason, whether I'm committed to furthering the movement and using my platform to do what so many of us need to get done, or it's just general fear for not only their person or their family. It's an extraordinary move from Commissioner Silver to just open the door to say this is completely up to you guys, and to take it even further, it gives those teams that are the Spurs being one of them that really are going to have a difficult time making the playoffs, enough time in there to form a squad, whether it be two-way players or replacement players in the LaMarcus Aldridge vein for the Spurs, to kind of prepare themselves for what could be an 8-game effort, not so much for this year, but for next, to allow younger players and those that might have been playing in a G League town to get some time in. I think this is an ideal situation in an abnormal environment for everybody to advance their cause for next year. I couldn't be happier with what Silver's doing.
Well, and I think especially just looking at it from a Spurs perspective, the one thing that Greg Popovich complains about most during an NBA regular season is the lack of practice time. And you're going to get plenty of practice time, plenty of togetherness, which is something that Pop, preaches. The Spurs dinners are certainly famous for a reason. But I think a lot of young guys, a lot of those Austin Spurs types are going to end up in Orlando, and they're going to be able to play. And I do think playing helps further the movement cause because the spotlight that is going to be on there. And then you get guys like Damian Lillard who, you kind of wonder on his decision making. He certainly has offered enough reasons to not go. He's also offered enough reasons to go. I mean, and I think a lot of players are probably in the same boat. I can make my pro and con list. How do you want to read it? I want to go. Here's my list of why. I don't want to go. Here's my list of why. And, I think most NBA guys, especially for the ones that probably don't hoist a Larry O'Brien at the end of the year, are probably having the mental tug of war with themselves like Dame Lillard is.
I think 2 things. I think, first of all, with the pandemic that we've been in over, the course of a few months, I think basketball would have been great for that, or will be great for that, because it'll be us getting back to somewhat normalcy, of having our athletes on TV playing, doing what we do, like you said. But I think as far as the racial injustice, I think that's where a lot of the struggle is for a lot of athletes. I think our league is made up of so many majority African-American players. And a lot of our hearts are with our people. Our mind is with our people. And we feel like we should be a part of that. We should be a part of that fight. And that's where the struggle is. I think that's where you're hearing a lot of guys kind of coming out saying, maybe we should be focused on that instead of worrying about, going back and jumping into the season. But then I think on the other hand, I can only speak for myself, but I think, it goes for other guys as well. We are the financial support for our families and for a lot of our community. We bring a lot of that financial responsibility to support, Black businesses and Black communities. So it makes a lot of sense for us from that standpoint. But I think a lot of guys in the league have a point. I think Kyrie and Dwight have a point. So I understand it all.
And again, I think for a guy like Dame, you're going to go play, and he's talked about that because my team is going to go play. And at the same time, if your team is going, you don't want to let your teammates down. I think most guys on a team certainly understand that. So it will be interesting to see ultimately how many guys opt not to go. But I think one of the comments that Adam Silver made, the sacrifice that it's going to take to pull this off, if we pull this off, when he said that, the plan is we're going, but there is still a pretty big if out there for the NBA restart at the end of July.
A long way between here and there for sure. And it's interesting listening to Dame Lillard as he was speaking on the questions that NBA individual players have to ask themselves and the answers they have to go back. Is it physically worth the time? Do I need to make the money for those 8 games and maybe some playoff money on top of that, not only to further support my family, but keep in mind, these are millionaires that are economic engines. There is a trickle down from these athletes, not only to their own families, but to their families, to the communities they live in, the community shops and community centers that they fund, and all the things that we never hear about that this money goes toward, that would continue to dry up. And in this economic climate, there's some pressure for these guys to get back in there, to get to work and continue to get paid to not only further their family, but to take care of some of the stuff that they've committed to on the social side of this.
It's very similar to musicians, and I think about, during this quarantine, we've had Pat Green on, we've had Cody Canada on, and, it's one thing for them to say, we need to work, not just for me to be out in front of a crowd and doing what I do, but, our bus driver, the
right.
people that are working the merchandise, the roadies, the guitar techs, everybody else and all the other musicians in the band. What I hear from Dame is kind of what you heard from Pat or Cody about, it's not just me. It's everybody else around me that I'm financially responsible for.
Heavy words from Dame. I certainly appreciate it. And again, we look at how the leagues are moving forward, and the NBA and the NFL seem to be headed in the right direction. Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred seem to be stuck in neutral and cannot get out of it. We'll get into that in the 6 o'clock hour. But when we come back, hey, if you're flying Delta and American and you got a drink coupon in your wallet, you can go ahead and keep it. We'll tell you why. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. Just turn on the news. That part of the stuff seems to be back. Whether it's you, a family member, a friend of yours, you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or check the website, mybestbailbonds.com. You can even start the bonding process there online. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. Of course, they are discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. License number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds at 210-225-2121, 225-2121, or online at mybestbailbonds.com.
We see you. We hear you.
We denounce systemic racism.
We condemn violence,
inequity,
and injustice.
We pledge to use the power of our platform to spread facts and educate our communities.
We will be the change that we are calling for.
We are united for justice.
At Sprint, we understand saving money for your family is now more important than ever. That's why we're offering our best unlimited deal. Switch and get 4 lines of unlimited for just $100 a month. That's right, 4 lines for $100. Plus, the plan includes Hulu, 500 megabytes of mobile hotspot, DVD quality streaming, and more. If that's not enough, to really amp this up, we're including 4 amazing iPhone 11s on us when you trade in iPhone 6s or newer in any condition. And now, Sprint customers enjoy access to expanded coverage on the T-Mobile network. Shop from the comfort of your home at Sprint.com, call 800-SPRINT-1, or come see us in our stores. Phone after $29.17 per month credit for 18 months credit. Apply within 2 bills. If canceled early, remaining balance due. Requires new account. Unlimited basic after $731.21. Pay $35 per month per line with autopay. Data prioritization during congestion. Coverage and offer not available everywhere. Excludes taxes, fees, and roaming speed. Maximum use rules. $30 activation fee and restrictions apply.
Diamonds Direct celebrates the reopening of our local economy with our most amazing offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down on anything and everything. Yes! Now, for a limited time, Diamonds Direct is doing our part to help you get back to normal and celebrate your love like never before. Our prices and values are the best ever. Our showcases are fully stocked, and we're letting you buy now with nothing down, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Been putting off that engagement? Get her a $6,000 designer ring now and pay just $100 a month. Did you miss celebrating that anniversary? How about a $3,000 Diamond Eternity Band for just $50 a month? Summer is the season for love, and we're doing all we can to make this summer one to remember with exceptional values, extra selection, and the most exceptional finance opportunity. 5 years, 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
At the shops at La Cantera.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Capital One knows life doesn't alert you about your credit card.
Hey, couch surfers, we've got nonstop tunes to keep you rocking while you work. Oh, and Colleen, yes, you Colleen with a K. Your free trial of Movie Plus ends tomorrow, and your card may be charged. Do you want to continue or cancel?
So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant. Eno looks out for surprise charges, like when free trials expire, and helps if you need to fix them. Eno, another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Limitations apply.
All right.
There is the Blitz. The ESPN San Antonio Injury Update is right around the corner. Just after 6 o'clock, Dr. Sergio Viroslav will join us as we look around the idled world of sports, but there are guys, given the time, have gotten healthy, and we'll talk about those that have been injured and those that are recovering in just a couple of minutes. But before we do, it was announced today by several airlines around the world, Delta and American primary here in the United States, that they're going to no longer serve alcohol on their flights. And when you first hear that, you go, what? Why? But it kind of falls into the safety precautions that are being made on airlines. You're supposed to have a mask on anyway. And if you're wearing a mask, you have to take it off to drink, and if you're drinking, you might have to go use the bathroom and walk it up and down this sealed metal tube while you're headed into the bathroom that is also a sealed little box. Your viruses might get all over everybody else, so no more alcohol, man. And also there's the little thing about the unruly passengers that I'm sure we'll all be happy to be rid of.
You know, as much as I fly, I don't have the good unruly passenger story. I guess I've just been lucky in that regards. No drinking on a flight. Are they cutting out all the services, you know, like soda and water as well? I mean, doesn't that kind of fall in line?
I do. If you're going to follow that kind of safety precaution and ask everyone to leave a mask on the entire time, how can you justify passing out those delicious little tiny bags of sugary, salty peanuts? I mean, it just seems like it would be inappropriate entirely until we can come up with some kind of invention that will not only cover our mask, but allow us to eat at the same time. And then until then, I think we're going to be high and dry.
Can they just put shower curtains between each rows? Yeah,
You wonder that right now the engineers of the world aren't actively finding ways to circulate air in a way that will take care of the floating viruses when you're stuck indoors. You get a feeling that at some point they're going to figure out a way to make sure people are safer in the building. I'm just happy even if this wasn't going on. I'll be honest with you, Jason. I've been on a plane or two where there's been some irate type of passengers. Nothing to the extent people had to be wrestled or fought, but loud and annoying types that happened to get louder as the beer kept coming. I would gladly give it up just so I don't have to deal with that, or my family would never have to deal with that. So I'm generally happy about this, man. You can medicate a lot of different ways. You don't have to have the alcohol.
Well, and that's it. I mean, but again, I mean, you've got the bars in the airports to begin with. Although the reality is, and I get a ton of drink coupons from Southwest, but
those are like currency.
Well, that is. But typically, I'm on an early flight going somewhere. And if I had the weekend that I hope to have, I don't want another beer on my way back. I mean, there is quite a bit of that. But I don't know. I mean, if you're going to tell me it's so I don't go to the bathroom, then you're not giving me water. But no water on a plane either. No, I'm not going to get the little pretzels.
Well, again, if the intent is to protect from the spread of COVID and other dread diseases, I think everybody would go, all right, I'm down, except for those non-believers, they're out there. But if the intent is we just don't want to serve any more alcohol because we're tired of putting our flight attendants in danger because of all these drunk idiots that, after having a few are unruly, I'm also down with that too. I think we reached a critical time in air flight where not only were you allowed to drink until you could be physically abusive, but you could bring on your therapy peacock. So all of that just went so far that I think the airlines are going, all right, now that we shut this down for a little bit, let's bring things back to the norm and get rid of all this craziness and protect our attendants at the same time. I'm not against it.
What about first-class passengers?
Well, they're different from us. Who knows what the hell goes on the other side of that curtain? I have no idea. I've never been up there. I've never seen it once. I get the feeling they're getting all kinds of great stuff. And
hot cookies and a towel. You get
ain't no towels. That's done.
On your forehead.
That hot towel. Ain't nobody taking a mask off for a moist towelette so you can breathe some more steam into the air. That's done.
But what about the cookies? Because the cookies up there are pretty damn good.
How are you going to eat it through your mask?
You can't. And, most of us, these Southwest types, we're not used to first class anyway. So be done with it. We're all equal in the eyes of the airlines. You guys up there, take that curtain down. Let's see what the hell's going on with the 1%. I've always been trapped on the other side. Hey, let's talk some injuries and coming back for our ESPN San Antonio injury update. Dr. Viroslav is going to join us. We're going to talk Mike Gundy as well. Rob Manfred in baseball, and your opinion on Manfred might be probably unjustly bad, according to Colin Cowherd. We'll talk about that as well. Lots to talk about. So hang here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Your source to local news in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Every day, news stories are spoken, providing hope and inspiration. The Express News is committed to providing timely and accurate reporting to help make a difference in the community we live in. Support local. We are San Antonio. We are the Express News. Come read us today at expressnews.com.
Northeast Independent School District is now hiring and training school bus drivers. Whether you're looking for a new job, you're a retiree, or you're retired military, come help drive students to succeed and apply at Northeast ISD Transportation today. No experience is necessary, and you will get paid while earning your CDL and learning how to drive a school bus.
The Northeast ISD Transportation Department is ranked as one of the top 100 school bus fleets in America.
And our drivers receive exceptional pay and benefits, including health, dental, vision, and and retirement. If you're looking for work, if you're retired from the military, or you simply want to make a difference in our community, apply now with the Northeast ISD Transportation Department. Join our team and discover Northeast ISD by calling 210-356-9229. That's 210-356-9229. Or you can text Drive Bus to 797979. That's text Drive Bus to 797979.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30.
For the ones we trust to always be there. For the ones caring for others. For the ones who keep things going, no matter where they are. In extraordinary times, extraordinary people step up, like the ones standing guard and standing on the front lines, and the ones who are staying apart while still working together. With your efforts, we will get through this. We're grateful for all you do. Visit Grainger.com for resources that can help as you create your recovery plan. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby!
KZDC San Antonio. Jason Minutes, Rob Thompson, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz. Welcome aboard ESPN San Antonio for our evening ritual. We're taking it all the way to 7 o'clock. Check us out live at ESPNSA.com. There you'll see Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Down on the bottom there at 6 o'clock, RJ Ochoa not here with us today. James Pledger at 9 o'clock. Thanks for dining in with us. It is Tuesday, and it is 6 o'clock. It's one of our favorite times of the week. It's time for the ESPN San Antonio Injury Update that is always powered to you by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. I'd like to welcome aboard Dr. Sergio Viroslav. Dr. V, welcome aboard. How's your day going?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great. Hope your day is better than most.
Well, you know what? We're getting through day by day. It's apparently, according to our boss, our 3-month work from home anniversary. So, you know, we have survived 3 months, and, you know, the layoff from baseball, if they can ever figure out their stuff between the owners and the players, the time off will help some teams like the Houston Astros, because Justin Verlander has resumed throwing off of a mound. He had that injury early on that looked like he would miss the first part of the season, but because of the COVID delay, if and when they figure out their business on the Major League Baseball side, Verlander should be ready to go.
It looks that way. Looks like he's ready to go. He says, "Let's go." And I think it lets the public forget about the challenges the Astros had last year anyway, politically, in terms of getting caught in all the hoopla about stealing signs and et cetera. So all good for the Astros, all good. Verlander should be good to go.
Doc, when you're dealing with the groin injury like he had and the type of surgery that he went through, what's the process to getting going again? I mean, I know muscles atrophy, but when you're dealing with core surgery, what are you dealing with? Is it just the injury is healed and you're back to 100%? Are you working muscles around where you had the surgery? Sounds like a difficult thing to come back from.
Well, it's definitely a difficult thing to come back from, and obviously when players has to be subjected to the surgery, you know that they were not going to come back. So starting from that perspective, his only chance to get back into the groove would be to have the sports hernia type repair, which is my understanding, most likely what he had done. But if it heals and he follows their protocols, he should be good to go. I don't think he's going to have a problem. I think he'd be good.
Dr. Sergio Viroslav with us here on ESPN San Antonio with our injury update powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Technically speaking, NFL training camps are supposed to open at the end of July, 4 to 6 weeks, or about 6-7 weeks from right now. When the Cowboys, while injuries are bad, Cowboys got, I don't know if you want to call this good news, but one of the best offensive linemen in football as a guard. Pro Football Focus ranks Brandon Brooks as the #1 overall guard in 2019. He was working out at the Eagles facility on Monday and tore his left Achilles tendon. He is going to miss the entire 2020 season. He not missed a game since 2016 when he tore his right Achilles, but he is 31 years old and he is a big man. Does being a bigger man, an offensive lineman at 31, make his recovery from another Achilles injury that much more challenging?
For sure. As the best offensive linemen are really all about footwork. They're all massive and they're all strong, but it's how their footwork reacts to the defensive player. And this is going to be a problem. And he's going to do well, but I just cannot see him coming back at the same level. That's purely a medical guess, but I've been surprised over and over again by how great these athletes recover. But at 31, he's kind of getting a little bit closer, as you mentioned, to he's in the third to fourth quarter of his career, but he'll be back, and we'll just see if he can stay on the offensive line. They might have to move him inside, but we'll see how he does.
Dr. Sergio Viroslav joining us here on ESPN San Antonio for our weekly ESPN San Antonio injury update. You know, when you deal with this injury, which seems to be the last of the catastrophics, you know, it seems like knee surgeries now, it's been done to the extent and rehab and the technology has gotten to the point where, you know, the expectation is most of the time when you tear your knee up, the doctors can stitch things back together and with enough effort, you can bring yourself back. But the Achilles tendon seems to be one that can, in fact, end a career. Is there anything technology-based, anything that has helped in the advancement of protecting the Achilles, or is it just one of those things that when it snaps, and there's just not a whole lot you can do to strengthen that part of your body, or is there something you can do to protect that the backside of your leg like that?
It just seems to happen in your early 30s at these high level. It's a 30-year-old injury, and it just ends up becoming a problem because the inner core of the tendon gets damaged. And though we tried to look at things like electropulse magnetics or stem cell injections, nothing has really seemed to change the prevalence of that problem. The good news is that the surgical repairs have gotten to be so strong that people can get back and get to rehab earlier, meaning before you'd be in a cast for forever, for several months. But now there's early progressive rehab, and the players can get back, and they do fine. It's just whether they get the explosiveness back, like we've seen in basketball players. Obviously, Achilles injury seems to happen primarily when they're later in their career, late 20s, early 30s. Same thing with football players, but there is nothing at this point that has changed the prevalence.
Dr. Viroslav, as we get ready for the restart of seasons, you know, the NBA talking about getting started. We know the NHL is, as we talked about, baseball can't get out of their own way. We know the NFL is moving forward, training camp. And as we get ready for this, you know, we're hearing that, you know, various players in each sport have tested positive. Baseball says a number of their players and managers have tested positive. Zeke, has it right now. Despite him tweeting HIPAA, we do know that he has it, along with several other players on the Cowboys, on the Texans, other NFL guys. Have, from the medical field and with what you guys see and look at information and working with athletes in specific, you know, obviously, you know, you've got your quarantine period. I've read anywhere from, it was all 14 days. I'm even seeing now 7 now with symptoms. But what kind of, if a guy's got COVID, does he just stay at home and stay on the couch or in bed, or can he continue working out on his own? I mean, what kind of limitations are these athletes going to have while they are healing and recovering from COVID?
Awesome question. And I'm going to tell you, I don't have this specific answer. We do have rules, like if you get a cold or the flu, we're basically staying hydrated and doing light exercises are typically okay until you're feeling well. most of these younger players like Zeke seem to be getting a milder form of the COVID versus the older players or older adults, so to speak. So it's probably just quarantine until he's better and then return back to workouts. The bigger question is, these guys all work within 6-foot radiuses and they're not using masks. It'd be hard to use masks when you're working out. I don't know what it means for the rest of the team. And that to me is still the challenge about getting these sports back on track. Golf is different, right? 'Cause it's just a single person.
Right.
Baseball actually has some advantages because you're kind of spread out, but football is a much more intimate sport. So that I still don't know what they're going to do. It'll be interesting to see what the medical people at the NFL truly are going to do about all of this.
So it's feed a cold, starve a fever, rest a COVID. We need. Is there something we need to? Or is it feed a fever, starve a cold?
Chicken soup for everything. Chicken soup for everything.
I think a big hot bowl of caldo on a 100-degree day will cure just about anything. You'll sweat it right out. Dr. Viroslav joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. And before we let you go, whenever we have the opportunity to discuss a Liz Frank break, we cannot let it go. I mean, the dancer's break, I believe is what it's called. And Philadelphia Eagle is dealing with that as we sit today. When you're dealing with a Liz Frank injury like Alshon Jeffrey has, tell us about what that is and the process to get better.
Well, first of all, the dancer's injury is a fifth metatarsal fracture.
Oh, too bad. Okay.
This one is the horseman injury where the horse would fall on a rider's foot and cause this midfoot injury. And unfortunately, as we've talked about in the past, it is a very difficult injury to recover from. It is months, even if it's just a midfoot sprain, especially as a wide receiver, anybody, frankly, a midfoot sprain that's going to take months to get cleared. And many of them do come to surgery, which then can take it to 6 months or longer. So just add a lot of time for his recovery, which might work out well for him, and that's because whenever the season's really going to be slated to start. But it is a midfoot injury. The arch of the entire foot is affected. It hurts like you know what, and it stays swollen, and it's difficult to rehab from, and it's going to be several months, minimum 3, for him to get back.
So do you think he should tell the Eagles that he's been riding horses?
You know what? I think that's between him and his employer. I'll just leave it at that.
The horseman's injury, the one I think we all should be able to brag that we got. Dr. Sergio Viroslav joining us for our weekly. This has been your ESPN San Antonio Injury Update. It is always powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. They are open for business and following all the precautions. You got something snapped or cracked, there's one number to call. The number is 210-804-5555. Dr. Viroslav, thank you so much for joining us today, man. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, guys. Be safe. Wear your mask, and we'll talk to you in the next few weeks.
Wonderful. Dr. Viroslav joining us, and great advice from the doc. Wear your mask. Take care of everybody else around you. When we get back, Mike Gundy has apologized. We'll hear from him and figure out if this is enough in a growing controversy up at Oklahoma State. We'll look at the state of baseball, or the disarray of baseball as well. Hang here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Jason Minix here for Pax Financial Group. At Pax Financial, they know you want to be financially prepared. And in order to do that, you need a trusted guidance. It could be time to have Pax Financial Group do a checkup on your portfolio. Is it concentrated in the international markets, especially China? Call Pax Financial Group at 210-881-5700 or PaxFinancialGroup.com. If you were recently laid off, before you withdraw from your IRA, double check with Pax Financial Group. They'll guide your long-term decisions. If you're thinking about Social Security, if you're uncertain, it could be time to have Pax double check all your numbers. At Pax Financial Group, they believe everybody deserves to be hopeful about their future. They understand what it's like to want to protect your hard-earned money, which is why they've been entrusted by thousands of families for over a decade to provide financial guidance. Connect with Pax, 210-881-5700, or go to PaxFinancialGroup.com. PAXFinancialGroup.com. Investment advisory services offered by Pax Financial Group, LLC.
Getting ready for the hangover without the headache. The Saturday Morning Hangover. James Pledger and RJ Ochoa. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio. 94.5 FM. And on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Nobody beats our prices on high-quality performance window tint and expert installation. It's essential to protect yourself and your family from the sun's hot rays and car thieves. Save $100 off regular winter prices when you purchase the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm package. This is a deal. Save $100 off our regular winter prices now at the start of summer. Limited to stock on hand. For 36 years, Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm Special. Want to make your car go thump, 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 mother thump. Premium car stereos on sale. Sony, Kicker, JVC, JBL, Diamond, Kenwood, Memphis Audio, all on sale. GPS, remote start systems, all on sale. Save $100 on the Mother's Window Tint and Alarm Special. Nobody beats the low prices at Mother's Window Tint, your car, stereo, and auto security headquarters. Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm Special. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Nobody plans on getting arrested, but it happens. Get out of jail fast by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. Call AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans and are open 24/7. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
I think it's time to let go.
It's the Blitz. You're on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Thank you so much for dialing us in. We got a lot to talk about, not a whole lot of time to get into it. We will say that Shams Charania has released the destinations hotels for the NBA. We now know where all the teams will be staying down at the ESPN Disney, and the Spurs will take up residence for at least 8 games in the Yacht Club. They will share that hotel with the Blazers, Kings, Pelicans, Suns, and Wizards. There's also the Grand Floridian, where the Thunder, 76ers, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Mavs, the Nets, the Grizzlies, and Magic are going to stay. Sounds like a bigger hotel. Looks like the Spurs got the, the boutique hotel, the Yacht Club.
As I read this, because the Grand Destino, and if you're one of those Disney types that can tell us all about these hotels, please dial us up real quick on the Kielbasa Bacon phone line, 656-ESPN, 656-3776, because the Grand Destino has the Bucks, Lakers, Raptors, Clippers, Celtics, Nuggets, Jazz, and Heat. It does kind of feel like this is the seating hotel. You know, your top seeds at the NCAA tournament, they get the nice one because they're going to be there longer. The short-term stays are over there in the Yacht Club. It kind of feels that way. Although, Mike Finger from the Express News tweeted out Greg Popovich Googling the Yacht Club and a screenshot from the wonderful world of wine. Wine lovers rejoice. Sip and swirl your way through some of the world's most renowned wine-growing regions. No passport required. The Yachtsman Steakhouse invites guests to explore the wonderful world of wine every second Wednesday of the month. Blah, 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 blah.
Every second Wednesday. So
yeah, they're going to have to make that a daily. Every non-game day for these Spurs. Yes.
Well, they're going to have to win more than they're going to have to win some games then if they're going to get more than one of the every other Tuesday kind of wine day. So there's some incentive right there. You got to win, get in the playoffs, so Pop can have 2 of those every other Tuesdays.
Have you ever heard anything described as sample the liquid legacies of some of the finest? What, the liquid legacies? Is that fancy wine talk?
That's wine talk. If I may be so bold. The liquid legacy. That's you only rent a good wine. That's the other one that they like to talk about. The NBA. I really am curious if that was in fact part of the allure of, like, I wonder if they let teams pick, like, which one of the 3 would be most appropriate to you, because it does look like they've segmented. Like, I know the Spurs are playing just about every team in their hotel. I know they're not playing the Wizards. They are playing the 76ers. So I guess it's not according to when and where you play.
But you know what? We don't know. They have not released a revised schedule yet. Most of us all figured they're going to look at the next 8 games, and those that go, they're going to be on the schedule. But we don't know if they're going to play what was on the schedule that we saw originally. We have not seen a finalized NBA schedule.
Oh, well, then there you have it. Maybe that's what is going on. They'll just, it'll ingress from that hotel and wherever it might be. Places are being reserved. There you go. I was going to stay in the yacht club that week, and I guess I'm going to get bumped out.
656 ESPN 656-3776. Brandon knows all about the yacht club. You're on the Blitz. What's up, man?
Let's hear it.
Hello?
Yo,
hey.
Brandon, you're on.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, the yacht club. I've never stayed there myself, but I've been in the area because you have the boardwalk right there. I think you have a nightclub with dueling pianos. You've got the ESPN club, the restaurant, an ice cream shop. They got a lot to do there. They're allowed out, I guess.
Is it one of, evidently it's one of the smaller ones of the 3 of the destination hotels there at ESPN Disney?
I don't know so much one of the smaller. It's one of the what is it that they call it? The deluxe resorts, I believe.
Well, a higher end, of course, they're going to have to make sure that none of the teams get the La Quinta of the Disney World. The doors that are opening to the street.
Right. The only one I've stayed in is in the La Quinta of Disney resorts.
Me too. So I know exactly which, and a lovely place for sure. But if you're trying to keep guys in a bubble and not have them going out to the bars and stuff, you want to have them have to go through a lobby instead of just open the door to the street. So it just makes things easier to control.
Well, and it's funny. Yeah. Appreciate the call, Brandon. I know when we stayed, we went cheap on the hotel. Wanted to make sure the bus route was there, but it's like you're not going to spend much time in the room. I don't need it to be fancy at Disney.
I've never stayed there. Luckily, I live there, and we bought an annual pass. I think I know where they're talking about. It might be over close to where that. I hate to bring it up, but didn't an alligator take out a kid a couple of years back in one of those lagoons? And if they're at a yacht club,
Florida, doesn't that happen in every lagoon?
Well, it depends on the time of the year. It just, it's just, if the news is slow, just go ahead and Google alligator and pond, and I guarantee you it'll be in somewhere in Central Florida. We know where they're staying. Hey, another bold step forward by the NBA as they get going. Let's get back to what Mike Gundy. I'm not sure if this is something that is about to blow up. And be a firestorm that ends a coaching tenure at Oklahoma State, or if Mike Gundy actually saved himself. When he come back, Mike Gundy has apologized. He tweeted out what he believes, and it seems to be the right words, but were they too late? And our action's going to follow that. And you're going to hear from Paul Feinbaum as well, he of ESPN San Antonio and of the SEC network as well. His thoughts on Gundy. He doesn't have much time to survive over there. Let's talk about him coming up next. You're on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you want to take your breakfast to the next level, get into HEB and get those Kia Bossa breakfast links. They're available at HEB stores throughout the San Antonio area, and these things are awesome, bursting with flavor, and they're uniquely Kia Bossa. Like the dinner sausage you already know and love, these Kia Bossa breakfast links are crafted in small 150-pound batches with premium cuts of pork and hand-blended spices. They're not the dry, shriveled-up breakfast links you usually find in stores, and they come fully cooked so you can pop them in the microwave for an easy breakfast on the go. If you're on a no-carb diet, Kielbasa breakfast links are perfect. Premium, small batch breakfast links that live up to Kielbasa's high standards of quality. If they're not the best breakfast links you've ever tasted, call Michael Kielbasa. He'll give you your money back. Try the new Kielbasa breakfast links today.
Making people wish Marconi never invented the radio. Dan Levitard. Weekdays 9 till noon. Only on San Antonio Sports Leader. 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM. All day, every day.
Your source to local news in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Everyday news stories are spoken, providing hope and inspiration. The Express News is committed to providing timely and accurate reporting to help make a difference in the community we live in. Support local. We are San Antonio. We are the Express News. Come read us today at expressnews.com.
Napa know-how. Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $50 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
Northeast Independent School District is now hiring and training school bus drivers. Whether you're looking for a new job, you're a retiree, or you're retired military, come help drive students to succeed and apply at Northeast ISD Transportation today. No experience is necessary, and you will get paid while earning your CDL and learning how to drive a school bus.
The Northeast ISD Transportation Department is ranked as one of the top 100 school bus fleets in America.
And our drivers receive exceptional pay and benefits, including health, dental, vision, and retirement.
If you're looking for work, if you're retired from the military, or you simply want to make a difference in our community, apply now with the Northeast ISD Transportation Department. Join our team and discover Northeast ISD by calling 210-356-9229. That's 210-356-9229. Or you can text Drive Bus to 797979. That's text Drive Bus to 797979.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool, so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/pro-loyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
Work at home, work out at home, second period math at home, date night at home. Lately, we're doing a lot more at home, which means we're doing a lot less driving. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you get the same reliable coverage you'd expect, but only pay for the miles you drive. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes daily rates subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
Watch them free. Watch them free. Watch them free. Hip hop heads.
You do it like this.
It is the Blitz. Here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. Welcome aboard. He's Jason. I'm Rob. We're talking about the Spurs. We know where they're going to stay in their little bubble basketball season. 8 games to be played at Disney World at some point in August. The Yacht Club there at Disney World will be their locale. Let's talk to one that has been there. Mark, welcome aboard, man. So tell us about the Yacht Club. Is it worthy of the Spurs expedition down there?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on. I've stayed at the Yacht Club the last 3 years for a conference, for an IT conference each fall. But it's like an apartment complex, almost 3 floors, 2 floors on some parts, indoor hallways, but nothing special. I'll tell you, I was going crazy after about 4 days of staying there in a conference and needed to get out. So, yeah.
Oh, no.
The rooms are, they're no bigger than your standard hotel room, to be honest with you.
I mean, now, are you high up in the IT world, like where the higher up? Although with all those guys going, I guess you can't hierarchy. And so they're not staying at the Ritz, or they're, outside of that fancy steakhouse with wine. Is there plenty to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do, and it is right across from where you guys said that alligator, killed that kid or whatever.
Okay, now I know where it is. All right.
Yeah. So what you're saying is don't take the kiddos with you down to Florida.
Oh no.
Right? But actually, they closed that beach off last year because of that. It's crazy, but yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's decent restaurants. It is it's by a boardwalk with water, but again, nothing crazy. And yeah, I'm the CIO for Bexar County, so it's just an annual conference. It is what it is.
It's for the suits, man. That was yours, Jason. That's for the muckety mucks. That's the nice one, the luxury yacht club. Hey, Mark, we appreciate it. All right, so we know where they're staying. It's nothing luxurious, but it isn't the bottom level. I'll be very curious what the difference is between the yacht club and the Floridian or whatever that other one is, and the other one.
There is Google. I mean,
also,
I'm glad
if you're
to know
a team,
that the CIO for Bexar County is going to the conference and staying at an okay place.
well, our tax dollars at work. That's what we want to do.
That's fantastic.
But do you think what went into it also could play was those teams that expect to be in the playoffs and play for a longer time, you probably want to give them nicer digs, because they're going to probably be there a bit longer than, let's say, a team that's 5 games out of the playoffs right now and is just playing for their very life or just for 8 games. Those are the ones that are going to be there a couple of weeks and then basically gone. So maybe that was the decision.
Well, I mean, it does look like it was bracketed from the hotels as, let's say if you were in Vegas, you would have some teams at the Bellagio. Let's go all M Life. You got some teams at Bellagio. You have some teams at New York, and then you got some teams down the road at the Pyramid, right?
I'm on Treasure Island. What does that tell me? What does that mean?
That means you ain't going to be here long, but if a team gets eliminated and you move up, you get to change rooms, my friend. You get the whole new hotel experience.
You mean I get a suite at Circus? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow, that's the room that actually you don't have to share a bathroom.
No, it's not. It's still that way in the suites at Circus.
Dude, that's exactly how it goes.
Where's Adam Silver staying? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, you wonder. And I wonder if Silver will be bubbled with the rest of the NBA.
Oh, he better be. Yeah, he'll be bubbled.
He is allowing players not to go if they choose not to, and maybe this will be an excuse not to go. I'm not staying in the yacht club. That is beneath my demeanor. When we come back, I do want to get into Mike Gundy, because I do get the feeling that this was either put to bed or not. Let's talk about it now.
And you look at Mike Gundy. I mean, he didn't apologize for anything yesterday. He put a video out with Hubbard, and it was bad. It was, it was nice that he put the video out, nice that he had a conversation with the players. Now Hubbard is defending himself for being in the video. He wants to see some change. The outrage, I think, grew from the fact that Mike Gundy was wearing that T-shirt, which, he's got every right to wear whatever T-shirt he wants. Just like you have a right to say whatever you want, but there can be consequences for what you do say. As a head football coach at a state university, at the very least, he was extremely tone deaf in wearing that T-shirt while fishing. But the video last night seemed to outrage more, because just the way it came across, and there was no apology in there. And, even the way he pointed to Hubbard, all right. And then Hubbard is the one apologizing because he went to Twitter as opposed to calling his coach. In fact, I don't know if you heard Paul Feinbaum earlier today. He was on Get Up, and he did not hold back on Mike Gundy.
To describe Mike Gundy cognitively impaired. Mike Gundy is a buffoon. He proves that every time he opens his mouth or does anything for that matter. And Max is right. At this particular moment in history, considering everything that has been going on, to wear that T-shirt is an insult. I don't care what Mike Gundy watches on television. I don't even care what his opinion of what he watches, even though he shares it with us whenever he is given the chance. But to me, that was an insult. And that's why I applaud his players for speaking out. And I'm sorry they had that kumbaya get together yesterday. Well, you're right, Max. The only person that apologized was the player. The person that should have looked into that camera and said, I'm sorry, I have been insensitive, I will work with you to be better, is the head football coach who makes $5 or $6 million a year, who, frankly, his record doesn't even support it. But I'm not sitting here and going to throw darts at him because he's 2-13 against Oklahoma. I'll leave that to the press out there. What I am here to say is that Mike Gundy has been doing this for a long time. He continues to put his foot into his mouth every time he speaks. And that's why I firmly believe the university would be much better without him. It would cost them a lot of money, maybe $10 to $15 million to buy him out and to fire him. But I can tell you one thing, Oklahoma State would be better today if they fired Mike Gundy than to allow him to continue to embarrass the program and embarrass his players.
That was Paul Feinbaum this morning on First Take with Max and Stephen A. We're discussing Gundy, and certainly Feinbaum pulled no punches, but let's qualify him first. He's an SEC guy, and, he's fired shots at the Big 12 in the past for a variety of things. So I do think he comes to it from a kind of a different perspective than most of us do, but I think the nuts and bolts of what he had to say, there is some relevance to this. He has consistently been kind of a buffoon, the mullet and some of the other things that he said, and the very idea of what he had on. No apology yesterday, but as we came on air today, Mike Gundy released an apology in the most appropriate and well-scripted way possible for an Oklahoma State football coach.
I had a great meeting with our team today. Our players expressed their feelings as individuals and as team members. They helped me see through their eyes how the T-shirt affected their hearts. Once I learned how that network felt about Black Lives Matter, I was disgusted and knew it was completely unacceptable to me. I want to apologize to all members of our team, former players, and their families for the pain and discomfort that has been caused over the last 2 days. Black Lives matter to me. Our players matter to me. These meetings with our team have been eye-opening and will result in positive changes for Oklahoma State football. I sincerely hope the Oklahoma State family, near and far, will accept my humble apology as we move forward.
Mike Gundy in an unscripted moment. I think that was just off the top of his head, just flowing like a wine, dripping knowledge for all of us.
I know you're just hearing it, but again, though, I mean, the mullet was on point. He was on the Oklahoma State TV set. I wonder how many takes it was, and the script writer emphasized to me. He said all the right things. It didn't feel sincere. The one sincere thing is if he's meeting with his players and it's opened his eyes to certain things, but don't try to tell me that network, which there are plenty of news articles from the past where you have applauded that network. You can't tell me that you just found out what they no, don't lie to me. You can apologize. I'm glad you're listening to your players. I'm glad there is going to be change. That felt forced because you got blown up by Paul Feinbaum this morning. You got blown up by your athletic director, by the Oklahoma State president yesterday on Twitter, and it was tone deaf to wear the T-shirt. And the video last night didn't do anything but fan the flames. And Mike Gundy apologized today. It does not feel sincere. I applaud him for doing it, but it does not feel sincere.
The statement that he didn't know, I think a lot of us are going to question that. If ever turned on, do you ever hit, you're scanning on a radio station in a different town and you hit something that you think sounds normal, and then you're listening to a little bit and it sounds like the news, and then they say something and you go, what? At some point, he didn't have a what moment. I mean, this is what's it called? The OAN that is alleged. I've never listened to it, never heard of it before yesterday, to have said things like George Floyd was an Antifa revel rouser, and that COVID-19 was invented in some sort of lab in North Carolina. You didn't listen to it and go, huh? When they were talking about that, did you listen on non-racist days? I can't imagine that you if you had ever listened to it and you felt it worthy to put on the shirt, that you didn't have any idea that what was coming out of that speaker might be offensive to some other people that are of a different compose of you. I mean, that doesn't ring true.
One of the things that I read yesterday is that in previous press conferences, he has applauded OAN for delivering the news without commentary.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think he understands what news is.
I mean, there are people that, remember back in the day when you'd be at the checkout counter, what was it called? Right. The World News or whatever. I mean, there was those
the
magazines
Weekly World
out there.
News. Now that's honesty.
With the aliens that were coming from outer space to land on Thompson Hill. I mean, there's.
That's true, by the way.
And I do have a hard time believing that anybody in the public eye, anybody, whether you're a local radio host, the head football coach at a small university, the head football coach at a major university, if you're wearing a shirt, your picture is going to get taken. And anywhere you go, Gundy knows anywhere he goes in Oklahoma, somebody's going to recognize him. You wear that mullet, you want to get recognized. I mean, that guy can't go incognito anywhere. If you're wearing that shirt, it's going to get out and what it means. And if you're not that aware of it, then you've got other issues. Most of everything that he wears is some sort of sponsored. I'm sure. I don't know. Is Oklahoma State a Nike school or an Under Armour school?
It's a Nike school.
All right. Do you ever think that he would walk out of the house with the Under Armour shirt on? No,
not if he wants to get paid.
He would never. If somebody gave him an Under Armour shirt, he would never wear it. If at some point they changed shoe companies, everything that he had with Adidas on it would have to get donated or thrown out. He would never be able to wear that. If somebody just gave him a shirt not knowing, he would never wear it because he is aware of what he puts on.
Let's hope that if he weathers the storm, and right now, as we sit, I think that's a big if, but I do think that this is an institution in Oklahoma that, they're accustomed to some characters. They've had some previous head coaches there that were a little bit out there, but they won, and they consistently beat their arch rival at OU. Gundy hadn't done that. Feinbaum pointed out 3-13 against OU in Bedlam. So I don't think that I think he'll survive if he continues on the contrite path and he puts action to words. He said the right things today, whether scripted or written by somebody else. We won't discount him for that, but we're going to need to see some forward movement on it, or his tenure at Oklahoma State, I think, will be a lot shorter, especially now that people are going to be eyeballing him for more than just football.
I do think, though, that he wasn't the school has not taken any action. And he obviously met with players yesterday. We saw the video with Hubbard. He met with the players again today. And that's what he needs to do. We don't need to judge him on whether we feel like the apology is sincere or whatever the statement is. It's you're meeting with your players. Are your players saying that they are seeing enough effort for change? That is what is going to carry the most weight. The damage that he has already done for recruiting to Oklahoma State football, which is, his number one job right now, is you represent this university. That damage is done. What are you going to do to try to repair that damage? And that's not coming from a video on Twitter.
Drew Brees came back. Drew Brees came back quickly because he immediately rectified the problem, apologized for it, and provided concrete steps to improvement, not only from his perspective, but from others around him. That's the playbook. Now we need to make sure that Gundy follows it, or again, I think he's in trouble. And I find it very interesting that now a player revolt will get you fired. One tweet from a Heisman candidate running back in Chuba Howard very nearly ended a coaching career with Mike Gundy. I think players are now realizing how much power they actually have, and one tweet can literally change a program and end a coaching career if that coach deserves it. And it's he deserved to be called out for it. And we'll see what happens not only in Oklahoma State but from other coaches as well. Coaches are now playing for players to stay because they can transfer easy, and if there's a big threat, sometimes whether it's the buyout can be huge at $15 million, but decisions now have to be made considering you could very well lose your entire talent just to walk out the door with one misstep and one error. I think that Gundy is going to survive this cancellation effort, but one more misstep, he gone, and Paul Feinbaum will dance on his grave.
Well, and again, I mean, you look at all these coaches, and you're right. Players have more power now than they ever have because they have the ability to transfer. You know, their scholarships can no longer be held over their head. And, well, if you want to transfer, you can't go here. You can't go here. You got to sit out a year. You got to do all these things. All of that is gone. And that gave the players a lot of power in that way. But when you talk about recruiting, I think what the high school athletes seeing right now happening on college campuses and how the coaches are handling it is going to go a long way when it comes to signing day.
Absolutely. When we get back, ordinarily we got our question of the day from RJ. He's not here today. I want to look at Rob Manfred. Slacker, filling in for me all last week and wanting to take a day off. The state of baseball just seems to be disintegrating by the moment. I mean, literally things like seem to be falling apart, and lines are drawn, and Rob Manfred stuck in the middle of what is a situation that seems to be unending with baseball. Let's look at where baseball stands today as they try to come back and play. You're here on the Blitz, 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
If you don't have a water softener in your home, you need to call my friends over at Alamo Water Softeners. You know, here in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Having a water softener is not a luxury item. It is a necessity. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners for a long time. At the old house, when I moved to the new house, got a new water softener. It's got all kinds of cool technology on it, and you're working with a great local company. The Townsends are from here. They started the company here. They design and manufacture their equipment right here in San Antonio. And not only will Alamo Water Softeners and the new water softener you get from them give you soft water, but you're going to save money because an Alamo Water Softener can double the life of your appliances, and you will see a 20 to 30% savings on energy used by your water heater. At Alamo Water Softeners, they offer you high-quality, low-cost, low-maintenance water softeners for your home. Call 210-274-6122. Mention my name, Jason Minix, and you'll receive free basic installation. You'll also get a free reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of select new Alamo Water Softeners. Remember the Alamo Water Softeners. 274-6122, or go to alamowatersofteners.com.
You follow your friends on Facebook and Twitter, so shouldn't you follow us? After all, I thought we were friends, aren't we? Never get left out. Follow us on Facebook at ESPN San Antonio, Twitter at ESPN_SA, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Injuries happen even during a crisis. When they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, sports injuries, dislocations, and sprains and strains. With 2 locations, they have extended hours Monday through Saturday, on-site x-ray, casting, and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury with no urgent care or emergency room copay. Injured? Get to Ortho Now. Visit TSAOG.com/Ortho Now for more information.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for the station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously, he's...
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
We call them small businesses, but maybe we need a better name. Because it's these businesses that are powering America right now. A lot of them had to shut their doors, but many of them are still open on eBay, getting people the things they need, and in return, getting the business they need to keep going. Our small businesses are getting it done, keeping you and themselves thriving. And that's no small thing. eBay, where America's small businesses live.
At Sprint, we understand saving money for your family is now more important than ever. That's why we're offering our best unlimited deal. Switch and get 4 lines of unlimited for just $100 a month. That's right, 4 lines for $100. Plus, the plan includes Hulu, 500 megabytes of mobile hotspot, DVD quality streaming, and more. If that's not enough, to really amp this up, we're including 4 amazing iPhone 11s on us when you trade in iPhone 6s or newer in any condition. And now, Sprint customers enjoy access to expanded coverage on the T-Mobile network. Shop from the comfort of your home at Sprint.com, call 800-SPRINT-1, or come see us in our stores. Phone after $29.17 per month credit for 18 months credit. Apply within 2 bills. Cancel early. Remaining balance due. Requires new account. Unlimited basic after $731.21. Pay $35 per month per line with autopay. Data prioritization during congestion. Coverage and offer not available everywhere. Excludes taxes, fees, and roaming. Speed maximum use rules. $30 activation fee and restrictions apply.
It's the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM and on the go at ESPNSA.com. The Blitz brought to you by the Thompson Law Firm. If you've been in the midst of a collision, if you're dealing with an insurance company and you do not have an attorney that you can trust, you will come out on the short end of the stick. Hire Jason Thompson, a lawyerforus.com, to ensure that you get every penny that you deserve. The number you need at 210-900-0400 or go to a lawyerforus.com. I wish we had more time, and we are certainly up against it, but Pledger and I got into it just over the break, discussing the possibility of as the NBA begins, what happens if Pop decides he doesn't want to go to Florida as the rates of positive start to jump up, and Becky Hammond is tabbed to be the head coach. Is that a disgrace to Becky Hammond to be the head coach for the first time? We'd have a woman head coach coaching in the NBA in a regular season game. Would that be viewed as a kind of a backwards compliment to let her do this, or would this be a monumental event in the history of the NBA?
I think it would be a monumental event in the history of the NBA. The idea that there were an opportunity where we thought she was when he got thrown out of a game, and it turned out to be Tim Duncan. Regular season NBA games, not summer league, but whatever this is when you restart it, if Pop isn't there and she ends up coaching, then it's monumental, regardless of the situation. Nor is this a slap in the face. In fact, from a Becky Hammond standpoint, no different than some of the Austin Spurs that are going to get an opportunity to play against high-level NBA talent. Remember, there's no cupcakes going down to Florida. I mean, every team down there is either a playoff team or within 5 games. So, you have good competition for the players that are going, and quite frankly, for the coaches coaching against each other. I think it would be incredible if Pop decided not to go, that Becky Hammond would assume head coaching roles. If that were to be the case, I fully do expect Greg Popovich to be there.
You're judged by wins and losses as a head coach, and you're sending Becky Hammond in there to go down there for 8 games with basically a G League team probably, or at least rosters. You're talking about Quindary Weatherspoon coming up, and you were talking about Jeff Ledbetter earlier throughout the pandemic.
Luka, all right. Keldon, we want them all, baby. Sure. They're all going to Florida State in the luxury Yetchit Club.
That means she goes 0-8 during her time, and that is the record that she's branding with, that she can't win. Like, if you win as an NBA coach, you're offered opportunities for the rest of your career if you win somewhere. If you never win, those opportunities dry up faster than anything.
First-time coaches don't take over NBA champions, dude. They take over bad basketball teams. That's how you're judged as a first-time coach. Can you take a team off the floor and build toward respectability? This would be an opportunity for Becky to start this with zero pressure. You got 8 games. Ain't nobody wants to stay around here more than a month. Get the games in, learn your craft, get on home.
I think I recall hearing a promo where I said that the one thing that I hope Becky gets a job somewhere else and doesn't replace Greg Popovich is because when Pop does decide to retire, we know the Spurs aren't going to be very good, and she's following Greg Popovich. I would rather her first head coaching job come somewhere else with a bit of a clean slate, although I do think Spurs fans would give her a little bit of a break here, but the 8 games in Florida for this restart is not going to change anybody's opinion on whether she is a good coach or a bad coach. I understand what you're saying on normal times, Pledge, but even if she were to take over this Spurs team, say it was this year, well, this team was going to struggle to make the playoffs to begin with, whether it was Greg Popovich or Becky Hammon. And so I think these 8 games down in Florida, all that's going to prove is that she can do the job. And what she'll get judged on by those that would make a hiring decision, the smarter ones than most fans. What were the plays she was running out of timeouts?
Right.
Did she call timeouts at key moments in the game? Did she look like the moment was too big for her? That's what those 8 games are going to teach her, and probably better learning environment than a summer league in Las Vegas.
1,000% right, Jason. Let's think of the opportunity here. It is an ideal given the situation. There's really zero pressure. You're in this environment that feels like training camp, and you're all in it together, much like she has been before. And at the same time, being judged for just being a coach. Did you have the right people in at the right time? Did you call a timeout? Was the play that you drew up appropriate to the down and distance of what was going on? Ideal opportunity. It probably ain't going to happen, but it certainly wouldn't be a disgrace for any coach to take over and then go down to the playoffs, because who knows, as we heard from Silver, if you're not comfortable going, whether as a player you don't have to go, and I'm sure owners are going to feel the same way about their coaches if you're of an age like Pop and D'Antoni that it might be a little bit riskier than others. Maybe you shouldn't go.
What about Malone in Denver, who revealed today that he had COVID in March? He has since recovered, but what if he decides, you know what, I don't want to go into this bubble? I think whoever gets tabbed there, the long-term, what we would normally judge on an interim basis, I don't think that's going to be in play in this thing.
I can't imagine an opportunity to let go. And I think it's going to be very unique watching the Spurs, because we do have the dynamic of where the Pop's going to go, but we assume there. But without LaMarcus, Chimezie Metu's going to have to step up. Ledbetter, the longtime Spur guard, might get an opportunity to get on that roster as they add a couple of more
Is he
players.
The one with the man bun?
Not anymore. It's cut, man. He is in full prep to be an NBA player. And you know what? I think we should get behind this. Ledbetter has been a Spur for a long time and will be a coach in this organization. Let's get him there.
He got engaged. He needs to get some NBA checks, man. He's about to have a wife spending his money.
If we can't win it, we can enjoy our ride while we're there. 8 games to prepare for next year and get your ass into the lottery. Jeff Ledbetter, you are a man that meets a moment. You can provide a future for your family and for the Spurs at the same time, just by, maybe not being extraordinarily good, maybe finding a way to keep it close. And then we can get a lottery pick that you'll be able to coach at some point in your long career with the Spurs.
You're setting her up for failure, man.
Just make sure you cover. Whatever the line is, man, make sure you cover, because we're all going to be ready to put a little scratch on these games.
Just keep it respectable. And who knows, man, you might get on a little win streak and get yourself a job opportunity next year. Dreaming's free and easy. We do know this, that the Spurs will be playing in the Yacht Club, or staying in the Yacht Club, one of the 3 hotels, as was announced today. We know where they're staying. We just don't have any idea when and if they're going to get there. We got a long way between here and there. We're going to continue to follow that tonight. Commissioner Silver, all the different leagues aiming towards starting things over again. And in 21 hours from now, we will join you again in the wide world of sports. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Dan Levitard, weekdays 9 till noon.
How about the larger point of Aikman, Romo, and Witten getting all of the broadcasting jobs? Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. What is it about the Dallas Cowboys that just will put a microphone in front of your face and